Good evening, Lancers, Legends of Runeterra viewers. This is the fourth installment to our tournament scene, and I have with me a brand new caster. Technically not brand new, because you have definitely seen them all over YouTube, all over the other tournaments, or the casting, or just kind of like being in the groove. I'd like to introduce MonteXristo. MonteXristo, tell us about yourself a little bit.
What's up, everyone? I'm a caster, streamer, player, although I don't stream that much lately, but I've been around the Runeterra scene for a while. Excited to be here tonight to join the Lancers for their tournament series. Excited to be here to cast with you, IDC. How you doing tonight?
I am doing well. I had my coffee. I have my water. My cat is deciding to relax and not have the zooming, so we don't have to worry about her screaming. But I'm more excited to see what players have in store for us. So far, for those of you that have looked at the deck list, we have 11 people are running Heimer Jace, and there's how many Tristana decks did you say, Monte?
Another
Like
11. No, I miscounted earlier. I was too hasty in my counting. I typed a little bit more, a few more characters, and it ended up being 11 Tristana decks as well. So quite, I think those two probably have to be the largest majority of lists out there in our field tonight, and they're pretty big staples to be around.
Especially Heimer Jace, because Heimer Jace has been dominating for how many patches? Like 4 or 5? I mean, ever since, even before the basically buff with the draw spell, right? It's been for a hot minute. And even Tristana, I feel like it's kind of like grooved in and out, because we've seen other variations of champion Drake, especially in the first, not the first, was it the first or the second Worlds tournaments? It popped up. That was something that was on players' radar.
There's this funny thing that happens in Legends of Runeterra where every time an OP deck is nerfed, Heimer, Jace, and Tristana become OP.
Wait, no, why is that real?
Time.
Why is that so true? It literally does, now that I'm thinking about it.
They're always there, just waiting to be the most powerful thing, and then something else gets released that usurps them, and then they're back to being just okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first game of the night is going to be Raravin versus Lot 420. We get to see what they have cooking. Let's go ahead and take a look at their decks real quick. Let me hold that up real quick. So for Raravin, we're running Teemo Tristana, and this is indeed the Demacian version with Champion Strength. We have Heimer Jace, classic, and Nora Viegar Darkness. Now, Monte, tell me about your thoughts about Darkness, because I've seen, for one, I love Senna. I'm loyal to Senna. I can't front. Nora with the portals can kind of do some nasty things, so I don't want to like put her to the side real quick. But oh man, what do you think between the two decks and the deck in general?
I'm a big fan of the deck that features 1 Senna and 2 Nora. But I think they do slightly different things. I think the Nora deck is a little bit more stally. It plays a little bit better into the current meta game because it can more effectively deal with the wide boards that are coming out from most of the other stuff, like the Tristana decks, like this Lurk deck from what we see from his opponent. So I think this Nora list is going to be a little bit better of a meta call currently, but Senna definitely has her place in alternate metas.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, speaking of Lurk, I listen, I think my top 3 champions are, I want to say it's Shyvana followed by Rekesay, and then someone else, I forget. I'm a Lurk lover. Not only am I play Lurk, I literally lurk all the time on Twitter, on the Twitch when I'm looking at other streamers stream. And this is looking like a really nasty opening, right? We had to predict into a double fearsome lurk. Like, look at that. That's gonna be so much damage. I mean, mind you, we are gonna be able to take. Are we gonna have to have double block? I hope not.
I hope they didn't hit another champion with that one. That would be really gross.
Incredibly.
Do you think we're gonna see a Pike or Rekesay?
I mean, I want to argue that it's Rekesay. If it is, oh man, we're about to find out. Okay, so it's not Rekesay, so it's either a Lurk or it's Pyke. So for Pyke, for those of you that may not have played Lurk, there actually is an animation for Pyke, but it is only for the person playing Lurk. They'll have Pyke's face at the top. While the lurking with Rekesay, will have both. You'll get the purple, I guess Zapper, kind of like a Zap circle to signify that Rekesay's on top.
Yeah, it's like the Rekesay grrr thing.
Yeah. So luckily we were able to like get the block in and we have some spells, but being able to get Lurk off early, because we've seen the significant win rate differences. Like when you're not hitting Lurk turn 1 or you're not hitting Lurk turn 2, it's so bad, especially if you're not able to make a comeback with Rekesay. And look at this!
It's a Pyke.
It's a Pyke! Oh, it's disgusting.
It's a Pyke.
And you can't.
I told you we're gonna.
Oh,
you know,
disgusting.
poor Rav. That you could have held off a little bit on the Nora, but you can't really afford to in this spot. You do need to get those portals going. It would have been more ideal to try and play her on turn 2 even. That's like the best time to play your Nora because that's the first turn she can attack, and therefore the first turn you can put a portal down. It guarantees you have a portal by like turn 5, I think. So we would have had a blocker by now.
Oh man. And like the thing is, we know that Rekesay's gonna be coming up soon too.
Oh, for sure. With all these predicts that have been available, and the wall up there is just gonna slow this Pyke down. But I think saving 1 extra point of HP might have been even more worth it. We'll see if it comes back to bite Rav or if it matters at all.
And like that's so crazy to think because there really are games that come down to the wire where it's really just that 1 extra point of damage that you took, whether it be round 1, 2, or 3, and it adds up. You really have to take in consideration how much damage you can take, especially with your hands if you have blockers. I'm hoping that if we're able to get the lifesteal unit. Oh, is that Rekesay? Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, that's disgusting. We just have to take it. And the issue is, even with Veigar's spell, we won't be able to... Another Pyke! The way that this is like...
I mean, we just lost, right?
Yeah! Oh, no.
There's literally nothing that can be done at this point. I don't think anything matters. Yeah, and then there's another 1 drop too. Okay. Rav just got lurked on. Lurk did lurk things this game. Double Pyke, Rekesay.
Lurk did lurk things. Doesn't even need to put the Rekesay down. It's going wide swing. There's absolutely nothing that can be done. Look at this mini morph onto Veigar.
I love it.
I mean, hey, it trades the unit. But GG's Raravin. Lurk did its lurking thing. Hopefully we'll be able to have something going around 2.
Yeah, we'll see if Rav can keep it up, turn it around and bring it back to a 1-1 score so that we actually has a chance of taking this down and advancing to the next round.
Possible. It's definitely always possible. Like, it's very important to just like really keep your head in game. Like, okay, you know, I lost game 1. Let me not take a deep breath. Let me go ahead and see what my options are going into it. Now with Raravin playing Darkness and Lao playing Pyke Rekesay, I'm curious to see what the bans were. I guess we're gonna find out in a little bit. Running back to Darkness and Vandal City Bilgewater. Okay, so that means it was Alawi Jarvan that was banned, and I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the ban for Lao ended up being. Let's see, so we're running Darkness back. So it's either Teemo Tristana or Heimer Jace. Well, we can find out definitely later. No, I think like
Tristana list would be my guess.
I would think so too.
Like, it's just the highest power level deck in this lineup, I think, and you're not really scared of any of them, and you're losing the mirror like we talked about a little bit earlier. So taking it off the field definitely makes the most sense. I think Rav might have misbanned though. I probably would have removed the lurk.
Really? You would have removed lurk? I
think so.
It. I can see
lurk just does lurk things, unfortunately, and like you could also have argued to remove this because like the Alawi deck is like okay into the Champion Strike deck. It can definitely get raced and it can be problematic for sure, but your Nora deck here should be able to deal with it pretty effectively. Yeah. And then if you're anticipating that they ban the Tristana deck, then maybe you don't consider that, and your Jace Heimer list is a little bit better into it as well.
It makes valid sense. I like that we were able to kill the elusive unit prior to Nora's swing. It's going to guarantee a supporter. We do have plenty of removal, albeit the removal that we have is Hate Spike, so we will have to sacrifice a unit. I don't think that's quite as necessary. Oh, might be. What's going on here?
We can use Hate Spike in response to them trying to kill one of our units. Always a nice way to get some extra value out. Might also want a glimpse with this current hand though, because I don't know if we're getting a lot more value. We do have the Conchologist to help us find more stuff as well.
Oh, interesting. Price fight and okay, going for the hate spike.
I think this Hate Spike is fine.
Yeah, I can see it being fine. You already know.
But now we just gotta chill. I think if they play another Tristana, we Hate Spike it immediately. But yeah, just gonna be an Owlcat. So instead, I think we pass it down, and then we can consider opening with this Conchologist.
Ooh, buy this. Okay, not the best thing. Ooh, okay, a draw. At least when I'm playing, if I'm fighting my opponent, I notice that they end up going for like an open draw. I usually take that as a sign that maybe they don't quite have the hand that they're looking for. How do you feel about that? What do you see it?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a weaker hand, or they feel that they're in a good enough position that it doesn't really matter what they do. They can just afford to take the turn off to draw, and maybe their open attack is never better. Maybe their open attack is always better than anything they can develop.
True.
There's a lot of reasons why they could be going for that play, especially against a deck like this one. Opting not to play the Conchologist is a little bit interesting. Would have liked to maybe see some options, maybe find some draw spells, just contemplate what we could do.
Yeah, because we definitely have to make use of this draw. We have to see if we can find our other options. Like we're at 15. Our opponent only has an Owlcat on the board, so we're not in particular danger. But we already know that with the Bandle City decks that have such cheap units, it can get really crazy really fast if we're not careful. Ends up opting for the Soul Cleave. I like Soul Cleave. It's a bit of a slow play because I mean you can Soul Cleave basically almost any darkness unit and it's going to be beneficial.
It's really slow though. It's really slow. I do like it, but we don't have a darkness unit in the hand apart from this Detonata, and like one Detonata is going to end this game anyways. So I don't think it was the right play in this case. I think if anything, we wanted the Ghastly Band just to have ways to use our Glimpse Beyond, to use our Hate Spike. It's playing for a future hand that we don't have yet, and that's like okay in some cases. Yeah, I do like taking this Bandle Commando off the board though. I'm a big fan of this. We can always sack just this Conchologist into the 5/3 to take that off the board and prevent any damage off the open. So that's a pretty good turn cycle for us, I guess. But still, we're not drawing. We're not really getting anything done towards winning our own game plan, and that's a little bit awkward.
Yeah, not being able to like get keep the Nora on board where we're able to get those portals and then level her up, or I mean even just get the wide board, because if anything the original Darkness deck that runs Vigor Center, I feel like it's one of its weaknesses was the fact that like your units were a little bit on the expensive side and like it kind of has like an awkward curve, and you weren't able to play as many units as you would need, at least for the Nora variant. Hey, you know, you stick Nora on board, you're hitting for face, you're getting those portals, and now you can contest against aggro decks when they're starting to go wide on you.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. And here we are probably just going to have to slam our Detonata into the King's Court that came down last turn, and it doesn't really feel all that great. Maybe we are going to have to just go ahead and Soul Cleave and play double darkness like this.
We very well might too. It's looking rough. And like King's Court is such an interesting card. Like I saw it when like, you know, the expansion first came out, but I ended up playing it against this deck. But this was like way before anyone knew about it, and I was just like, what the hell is happening? Why can't I block these units? And I didn't know that when you fish fight with King Court on the field, it gives the unit brash. I was just like, hold up, this is dope. I need to like take a look at this card now.
Yeah, brash is a pretty sweet keyword, as it turns out. Manipulating health is a lot easier than manipulating attack, and it's a lot more beneficial for you to do it in general. Yeah. So yeah, it's like fearsome plus.
Yo, look at this, 10-7.
That's a little fucked up.
Oh my gosh.
You can just prize fight into the 7/6, and what's Rav gonna do? He's gonna have to.
And like we're getting a prize fight for every unit summoned too. So even if Rav was like to develop in some way, shape, or form, quote unquote, at least on the defense turn, we just prize fight and suddenly they can't block.
Now Nar gets to prize fight over top of this and make himself a pokey stick.
Pokey stick, RIP.
And then if Rav does go for this, oh, that's just gonna go ahead and.
Is that gonna give us double pokey?
Fight.
Or no, it'll give us a free pokey, no?
It'll give us a 0-cost pokey.
Yeah.
But it also, I mean, the Nar's always dying if we do this, so maybe that's just okay.
Thinking about it. Yep, there we go. Committing to it.
It is killing the 7-6, so not the worst thing in the world. But Rav will have an opportunity now to use his Glimpse Beyond and hopefully draw into something, but he's also just dead on the open.
Yeah. It just hurts. Like, Shadow Isle's losing out on some of its removal options, like Withering Whale. Like, the way that I can say that card has saved me so many times. Ooh, going for the hate spike instead of Glimpse.
Really heads up. Really heads up to do that and not die. We can always glimpse this husk now.
We can take 4. It's all right. I like it. That was really good.
We do have the option of going for
Okay,
the
Aura.
And Nora's a good pickup here too.
Ooh, but Mirror's even better. Now we're gonna get a discounted unit. Go ahead and play that, which is really swinging mine. We got 6 damage on the board so far. 1 brash unit. Nora can't even block that much, you know.
I like dealing with the 1 damage at the same time as doing this. I like committing all the mana. Anything we draw into isn't going to be super expensive, and taking the 2-1 off the board could matter. This is also a little bit sad. Ooh,
that hurts. I mean, I guess technically it's a draw 3, but if your opponent has another one...
Yeah.
What is it? Is it what? Lightning Rush. Hold up.
It's really bad.
Wow, that Lightning Rush is a 1-of in the deck.
And now he gets the group shot back as well. So you can't even play your Nora safely.
Man.
Oh, maybe you can play Nora safely.
5, 6,
Just taking
7.
7. This is why I wanted to kill the Owlcat at the start of the turn as well. Look, we still have the 2 mana.
Yeah, especially given that you had destroyed the unit that had the equipment. You know that equipment's gonna come down eventually. And even though the unit can't block, that's a whole 5/3. Like, that's a lot of damage.
All right,
Okay,
we found some lifesteal.
Sally's always good. Gets to do double darkness. I believe darkness is only at 3, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't even know if it's at 3 yet. I'm pretty sure it's at 2 still. On the bright side, we are going to get the Soul Cleave the next turn. I think it's at 2 still. I don't think we've had it.
Soul Cleave is going to be pretty nasty.
Vengeance to deal with another King's Court if it comes down as well, and that's like really the big scare card. Tristan as well, but
I mean, even so, I think Bando Gunners would also be kind of scary, you know. That unit has a whole spell shield. You don't even have something to deal with that aside from Pie Toss.
I guess that's true.
Now we gotta pray on that RNG for Nora. Hopefully that card is at the top. We need a blocker.
We definitely do.
Now,
it would be nice if we found something that gave us multiple blockers.
Yes.
Fading Icon, that would be peak, I think. Alright, looks like it is at 3. Or 4, actually.
Oh, okay. 4 is good. 4 is definitely good.
4 is respectable. I think this is probably flipping Vagar. Yep. Looks like it is.
And like we still have the Vengeance for if Tristana comes down. Now, I haven't played this deck too often. Do you really want to like charge Tristana up before playing her, or is it better to like play her and then have the units get the benefit of that +1? I mean, I guess I could go back and forth. Depends.
It depends on the matchup for sure, and it depends on the situation. But she doesn't start to gain impact until after she's leveled. So you definitely want to play your first Tristan out as early as possible if you can. This is feels bad. We could have stopped this with the Pie Toss again by killing the 2-1 before the Grumble Slug. Yeah, it's just kind of sat rotting the hand, and now we kind of did it retroactively, and it doesn't feel great to do so.
4, 5, 6. So not dead. Not sure if we're gonna be able to have the luxury of. Okay, so it looks like we might be able to Soul Cleave here. But I feel like even with the Soul Cleave, those are ephemeral units. You can just opt to not swing, and then your opponent loses out on all of that.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And there it goes, Bando Gunner for 1 mana! Oh man.
Now you're forced into the Soul Cleave, and it still does not feel good.
What's this? Puzzling signpost. Oh no.
Ooh, that feels bad for Rav.
I think this is now the lethal.
Yeah.
Block there, but that's 3 impact. Impact is so strong. Like I feel like you saw it maybe in a few decks, but like now with prize fight being a thing, and even just like as a game ender in itself, because it's damage you can't block.
Well, you can stop it with things like glimpse and
True.
combat disaster, you unit or any other self-damaging spell. So there are ways to get around it, but it is a very, very powerful effect, especially when it's combined with something like the prize fight, as you said.
What are you made of?
Rav doesn't actually see the line, but even if he saw the line to stop the impact damage, it wouldn't be enough. Yeah, he's very, very dead.
Right now. Damn, exactly. Lethal.
Unfortunate for him.
Definitely try though. Like even so, like when you're in the game, it is sometimes difficult to see certain lines, and then after the fact you look back. Because I know I've done that so many times where like I'll do something, and then the moment I do it, I'm like, damn it, I shouldn't have done that. You know?
Oh, I do that all the time. It's the
all the
absolute
flipping
worst
time.
feeling in the
Yeah,
world.
I'm just like, I did this too quickly. I didn't think it through. But regardless, Raravin played this with the I believe the second. This was round 2, mid of the round 2. I know that we have a little joke with Raravin. How he's always telling us, I never make it out of round 1. Listen, you made it out of round 1 to round 2. That is an accomplishment in itself. Because I know when I play tournaments, I get my butt kicked. And it's usually in round 1.
Always start. Single elim is bad for me because I always start 0-2. It's never a good call.
It's so rough. It's so rough. But regardless, GG's to both of the players. Very, very happy to see them play. And it was a good line to see to kind of like showcase the power of those decks. We see Lurk. You know, I feel like Lurk and Deep are 2 decks that end up kind of like coming to the forefront, especially after a patch. Like it's kind of like old reliables. And if there's any players that you know are loyal to their decks, it's Lurk, Deep, and Shurima, regardless of how Model Shurima's win rate is looking.
You're definitely right about that, my friend. And yeah, it was an absolute great showing from Lout. We got to see the King's Court Gnar Tristana deck as well, which was very, very cool, very powerful. We saw the Bandle Gunners come down at the end of the game, showing how powerful the impact damage is. All the new patches, exciting stuff. Was very interesting to see for the first
really
round of our
is.
broadcast, anyways.
Now, speaking of the patch, if we've anything that we've noticed on this deck list that we're lacking, I don't really see. We only have a little bit of Samira. There's not 3 Samira?
Yeah.
And like I know the deck was hurt. I mean, speaking of like 3 Samira, it's not just 3 Samira, but 3 Samira and its Fizz. Like if any deck was nerfed, it was that one in particular. So to see it still being played is interesting. And I know I was reading I believe on Mastering Runeterra, one of the articles talking about the decks that are kind of like up and running and how that one is still, you know, maintaining its footing in terms of win rate. I think at like a 53-ish, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back to the article. But
Something
it's
like that.
interesting to see that still played. And I guess I can still see its power, right? Like Samira in herself is like a busted champion, being able to like has the potential of burst rallying. Like, oof, that's like what? There's no one else that does that. I think the only one that we had was slow speed rallies, even with Katarina. Like, still you got to play a unit past priority, but with Samira, you just gotta like get around that. Let me just scooch on over. Let me just attack you real quick. I know you're thinking, but I got some fighting to do.
Yeah, she just gets to completely ignore the turn cycle with her level 2 ability. It's a little bit insane. Back in the day, we had fast speed rallies. That was like beta shit, but Samira says, I'm a rally at burst speed. So there's 7 Samiras total tonight. We have 3 Fizz Samiras, 1 Samira Varus, 2 Jinx Samira, and 1 Pantheon Samira. Be interesting to see if we can find any more of those players later on in the broadcast.
I would really like to see the Jinx Samira because I fought that earlier, and I was like, who made this? First off, is this not gonna be like the new Jinx aggro aside from Echo? I like it.
Yeah, I still don't believe Jinx belongs in the Echo deck. I'm against that.
I understand. I hear you out. So for the next match, we are gonna have Galy versus Trustiano. And for those of you that have been to our tournament before, Trustiano has won 2 so far, back to back. They are a Lance's Legend of Runeterra champion, so it's definitely gonna be a good match that we're gonna see. And we have a Darkness Mirror. Let me tell you, because I tell Surgikai all the time, I absolutely hate the Darkness Mirror. Don't want to do it. Sign me out. GGF 15. I'm good.
I am right there with you. Darkness mirrors are up there for one of the most irritating mirrors, especially to cast, I would say. This one is a little bit better because it's the Veigar list, or it's the Nora list, sorry.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit more exciting, get some wow moments from like the random generation stuff, but still at the end of the day, Veigar sits there, Veigar tick up. Caster go snooze.
Caster go snooze. What? I mean, I'm trying to think what other kind of games to snooze. I feel like, I mean, what? Karma set? Pass. Like, what are they gonna play?
That's a bad one too, for sure.
So let's go ahead. Let me take a look real quick. So
These
Trust
players
is
are just
running...
gonna trade, at least attempt to trade their Veigars.
I mean, having that extra HP on Veigar is really nice, but mind you, I don't think it necessarily matters because we do have Darkness at 6 for Galy. But hey, it does give us like another proc, and getting those procs are like always really good.
There's a Puff Cap Peddler, and double Vengeance drawn for Trust. That's quite the draw.
7-minute
Has
Darkness.
second Veigar as well, and has another Deny. This is an interesting position.
That's exact level up, I believe. Now it's gonna look tricky. But here we go.
Ooh,
we have Death and Ada coming with also a 7 damage Darkness. Galy gonna go ahead and go
a little bit late.
Gonna go ahead and go for that swing, knowing these units are gonna die. Let me go ahead and get these other units down and see if I can get some damage in. How many puff casts do we have in this deck first off? Okay, that was the first one, just 3.
Just no way there's been more before this. It's gotta be the big one. Alright, no draws on the portals either.
Okay, so we got 3 portals for Galy. Let's see where they are. Ooh, Ecstatic Sentinel.
They're right on top.
Okay, right on top.
We found them.
What did we get? Ayo? Elusive? Little Lizard? Arena Battlecaster?
Oh, we did our own Ecstatic Sentinel rather than our Designator. That's interesting.
Interesting.
I guess we're playing our 2-drop here. Or are we just firing off our Darkness to... Yeah, okay. I like this. We have good trades. We have an Elusive to push damage on the following turn. We can just jump block, right? Oh no, we're full trading.
I mean, I guess if we're looking at Galy's hand, like, we know we already have the Ecstatic Sentinel in the pocket.
We also have a Flip Nora now, which I didn't even realize. So, we're kind of just chilling at this point. We can see that Trust does have another Veigar, so that's kind of spooky, but I think we just have action economy and we win the game with this open attack. Or at least we try to force the issue that way, and then we have the Ecstatic Sentinel, we win on the actions exchange.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's no unit on the board, Ecstatic Sentinel cannot play the spell.
You're correct.
Okay. That's such a...
Actually, you might be able to use it on your own.
On your own?
Yeah. I think it might still go to the opponent's Nexus if you use it on your own unit, which is funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read it. Guess we're about to find out right now. Another Veigar level up. You want to anything, okay. Yep, there it goes, Ecstatic. Now, we do have, for Trust, the Puzzling Signpost, right? So we can send the one that is going to face back, but we're still gonna have to deal with... It is, because you just give them a Darkness, like, right back.
Yeah, but it's not going face, so, like, that's actually
true,
winning.
like, it's not, yeah. It's a good play.
That's actually winning. You're losing your Veigar.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing from this point when you're once again dying to an open attack.
Oh, wait.
Double buy toss, let's go.
Wait, we could like use that to come out of the units? No fear. I say pass, don't even show that you have it. Oh no, but then we're gonna play another unit.
Galy misplayed. Should have led with the other 2-drop.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even then, I think any 2-drop in this case might be fine. But it definitely is better
This is still forcing.
Yeah, still forcing.
This forces vengeance on Nora, and then you can just answer with the miscall, and they Runation, and then you're chilling.
I mean, actually, we have Deep coming in, making a little appearance. Look at that.
That's true. That's gonna be GG. Nice little portal off the top for Galy, wins the game.
Nasty. I mean, that's the power of portals, baby. Listen.
Let's go. I like sea monsters.
Shoot, I do too. At the end of the game, I need a little quick 75. Shoot, don't mind if I do. And mind you, that's not even probably the scariest thing that Nora can make appear when she's level. Because mind you, I feel like a lot of people, you see Nora, it's like, yeah, grandma gotta die. There's no dead, no questions asked. But when you are able to finally get that level up, it's really, really powerful.
They're Nora level 2 is originally it was supposed to be a token, I've heard, which I think is like really interesting.
What do you mean by that? A token?
Like the same way Zoe has like permanent effect on the board state, or like Sakram has like a permanent effect on the board state.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard that like originally in testing they had Nora level 2 just be that way, and it was like a little bit too strong.
That's kind of crazy. Like imagine you burst level Nora, whatever the case may be. Like I guess the soonest you could probably do it is probably with Soul Cleave and then one of the little portal units, and theoretically you can probably get it off. And then just for the rest of the game, you're just getting these 4, 5, no, or what, 5, 6, 7, or 4, 5, 7?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think.
Like for the whole game, nah. Like Zoe might give everybody whatever keyword that you summon, but getting burst units, not only burst units, but burst units that are of like a high mana cost that are gonna like have some pretty nasty effects. No, that's crazy. I feel like that's crazier than freaking Samira, like as she is right now. But even then, Rallies is still good. Now I'm curious, out of these lineups, right? If we're taking a look at actually, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that was the last match for Trust. Yes, that was. Porter, can I get confirmation when you get the chance?
It was fast.
That was, they can't do that.
They had a ton of time left on that clock too.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at it. I was like, this is a lot of time. They must be like, this really the third match? Let me see. All right, I'm gonna wait on that. But anyway, so looking at Trust's lineup, we had Nora, Veigar, Evelyn, Lucian, and Caitlyn Teemo. And then for Galy, we had Nora, Senna, Veigar, the one that we like, Heimer, Jace, and Gwen Riven. Hold up. Opulent Foyer, okay, Runespire. Okay. So it's kind of like Red Gwen, but essentially without the rally since those were rotated. But I like it. I feel like the Gwen package has always been incredibly strong, especially with Opulent Foyer. Mind you, Opulent Foyer is now nerfed and it does not give you an extra unit on Scout, which is great. Because that was pretty nutty. You can reach some crazy numbers with Hollowed with that mechanic, and we saw how Quinn was just kind of dominating. Mind you, it may have some bricky moments, but it's dishing out a unit every freaking attack turn. It's just too much pressure for some decks to handle. Now, is that the deck? Yeah. What would you have banned if you're one of these players? What do you think the bans were?
Honestly, probably ban the Evelyn Lucian deck.
Okay.
Because I honestly, no, maybe not. I could not tell you. These bans are just
it's hard, right? It's a hard choice. Because I feel like
maybe you ban Gwen Riven because you've never seen that before and you have no idea what its matchup tables are, so you just respect the weird deck. And then maybe you ban Caitlyn Teemo for the same reasons. But I don't know. Like Evelyn Lucian could have hands that just completely stuff you, but you also have all the control tools in the world to deal with it. So how scared of it are you? It's really hard to say.
I feel like the only thing that really makes it scary is if like the Evelyn Lucian deck was to get either the Rand Sculptor online or Dawn Speakers online, especially if like they're not able to be removed. But even then, when you're running Shadow Owls, you have access to Soul Harvest. You can just, you know what, this is under 3 power. I have 2 mana. Boom, die. You're done. You don't get any of these buffs, and I don't have to necessarily worry about that.
Evelyn can't come down without some sort of spell shield backup because you have vengeances, or without being flipped because you have the Soul Harvest, exactly like you said. So like, I can't see you reasonably banning that one, but at the same time, maybe you're just scared of champion strength. Maybe that's it.
I mean, it's strong. Like if you don't have an answer, I mean, I guess when you're running the Bando City, let me look at the Caitlyn deck real quick. Are we running?
Caitlyn deck doesn't look that scary to me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's Caitlyn Teemo. Like it's been around. I feel like no one's really necessarily a stranger to it. They may not have seen it in a while, but Caitlyn Teemo does what Caitlyn Teemo things do. Just kill a few of the units. Don't let them plant too much.
Yeah.
Like if
I
anything,
mean, Advanced Intel got a buff, which was nice.
yeah, that draw is actually really nice because I feel like playing that card without anything else. Like just 2 flash. Come on, 2 flash bombs. That's how you gonna give me really? Like give me a little something. All right,
Literally anything to buff that card would be nice. So the fact that they made it a 2-cost cycle card is interesting. It's also interesting that PNZ has another 2-cost cycle card on top of Time Trick, and like I guess that has like niche applications with Seraphine as well. So that's kind of cute.
Oh, but definitely. Go ahead. We are gonna go into the next match. I, as a silly person, forgot to add them both. So we're gonna go ahead and get that situated. And it's going to be Successor versus CaricaOficial. I want to see. Oh, hello. Beep, 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 beep. All right, I have Successor. All right, so we'll get that situated, but let's go ahead and take a look at their deck. So Successor is bringing J4 Shen, Alawi Swain, Timo Tristana, and this is the Massian version. And then we have Karika bringing Jinx Samira, Timo Tristana, and it's the Massian version once again, along with Karma Set. I feel like that's interesting. Like I looked at that lineup, I was like, this is definitely a bait. Like I feel like the Karma Set was a little bit of a bait. Like you know when that deck gets to 10, it's ridiculous. You're drawing, you're getting coins. What do you do against it? But then the other 2 decks are like both aggro, and it's like, okay, do you want to deal with like me aggroing you down, or do you want to deal with Karma Set?
It just seems so mispositioned. I feel like this lineup choice is going to skew your ban strategy a lot because you're going to have to protect one deck or give up some bad matchups, and that's just weird. I don't know, maybe it works out. Obviously, it is working out for them so far because they've made it this far, but it's just a strange lineup choice. And then from Successor's side, he's also made an interesting lineup choice, bringing that J4 Shen deck, which is so weak into Timo Tristana, while bringing 2 other decks that are particularly strong into it. So, interesting. Interesting choices. Curious choices.
I mean, I think that's what I like, because like you have individuals that enter the tournament, and like mind you, anytime that like I've entered the tournament, I'd be real with you, I've never known what to bring. I usually bring a comfort deck. I don't even look at the meta, like pay attention to it. I'll just go in. At least my early days. Now that I've like been in the scene and watching it, everything, I'm kind of like, okay, so like bring meta. If it's like tier 1, tier 0, bring it. Regardless if you play it, you better put some numbers into it, practice it. And then aside from that, you can possibly be creative and look to target those kinds of decks.
I mean, this looks pretty good for Carica here, right? You can just snap off this Caustic Rift, trade down. Or even just take these blocks and you're kind of okay. You're getting a little bit low and there's a Riptide Rex in the hand of Successor, but yeah, okay, Palm is a reasonable option here as well.
Okay.
And now you're taking Ilawi off the board and you feel pretty good about this.
Yeah. We do have a second Alawi in hand, so we are going to be able to play her. And we also have a double Tactical Smash. Like, I mean, mind you, I don't think we're necessarily going to have to use it, but I feel like it probably would be best, especially if we're going to go for the swing maybe the next turn, or even prior that swing, just to make sure that we're like, okay, get rid of my opponent's blockers. I can now go for an open swing. They are going to have either A, a blocker, or B, a spell that's going to be able to stop my swing, or they're going to be taking way too much damage.
It would be really nice if we were able to flip, but unfortunately we're just shy of that. Looks like we are going to lose our set here, though. We can use tag out to keep him alive and deny some of this Alawi damage. That seems like the best option.
Yeah. So we definitely don't want Alawi leveling up.
And then Successor also top-decked Leviathan here, so that way he's going to be set up nicely for the Riptide Rex on turn 8.
That's going to be so nasty.
And we only have one Concussive Palm to stop this double Overwhelm swing. Successor's in a fantastic spot now. Okay, tag out showed up just in time.
You gotta love the top decks for when they come.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh.
Might still want to hold off nonetheless, though, and just take the free trade here and toss up the palm, and then save it for a future emergency button. Maybe send this Leviathan back to hand, so that way you're not dying to the Rex next turn.
You have just enough mana for it too. I mean, even so, like being on 5 damage against a Swain deck is just, does not feel good.
Yeah, it's really scary. It's really, really scary. It's just a couple turns with Leviathan on the board, right?
Mm-hmm. Trying to see what else we have. I mean, even Riptide Charmer deals 1. We have 1 Noxian Forever, 3 Make It Rain. So we have a little bit that can like hit for face, but not so much that we're gonna die. I mean, now that we're on 3, a Noxian Forever in any way, shape, or form is basically gonna be game.
Fervor is game ending, but so is this Riptide Rex that's about to come down. And Carica is even going to soften up their own set. Now Rex comes down, and that's GG. Game 1 goes to Successor on the Swain Alawi. This deck has been picking up a lot of traction in the last weeks. That tag out's not going to do it for you. It's going to make it worse.
You can't even stop this. Where's Shariba when you need her? Like, where's my right of negation? Oh man. So I remember playing that for like a little bit. I think when the expansion initially came out, like it kind of came up, but then was just I think dying way too often to basically Fist the Mirror. But seeing it here right now, I'm just like, oh wow, like that's kind of a really nasty way to end the game. If it's not allowing in the mid game just punching you with the meanest uppercut, it's just the Leviathan and Swain and even the Riptide Rex combo.
Yeah, those big end game units of the Leviathan and the Riptide Rex really came through in that game and showed their power and showed why they're in the deck and showed why this deck is powerful. It's all about threat stacking and threat density, and you just have so many with the Swain, with the Alawi, with the Tentacles, with the Leviathans. And now we're going to see Shen Jarvan, which is a deck that's oddly threat dense. Because you have this 1 drop and you have the 2 drop, and they're like kind of scary, but also not scary at all.
Like, I feel like you can get rid of, you can just like get rid of them, right? If you have the right cards, it's like, okay, like, I mean, I guess you can get Barrier at Burst Speed whenever you want, but I don't know.
For Carica, this is entirely free because you can just go ahead and continuously ping off these units, and if there's no form up to stop the first ping, then you're still fine. Even if there is a form up, you have the second ping, and like you trade it even on mana, so there's no tempo loss whatsoever.
Yeah, because right now the Successor is running 1 a Sacred, 2 King Jarvans, a Ninetail, what, Screeching Dragon? Yeah, they're really like threats are there, but they're definitely not really coming on later. And I feel like with against Karma's set, you really want to try to get as many threats on the board as possible. Because if there's too many to deal with at once, then it's like they only have so many answers. If you're kind of like just doing one thing at a time, as we're already seeing these first couple turns, right? As you said, boom, ping, gone. What are you gonna do about it? Especially when you don't have the mana to like back this up.
Yeah, and here Carica gets to go for a turn 4 formula, which is very nice. Get to go turn 5 with full mana and play their set, or just go ahead and rip this, activating Flow and turning on the Cost Grift. Not a bad choice, but would be punished by 4 on the following turn. Opts not to do it because of that reason, I'm guessing.
Makes sense. Ooh, double aftershock. See, now it's getting spooky, because if anything that Karma set has, I feel like, has difficulty dealing with, it's units with high HP. Right? They're really good at picking off pings, and unless you have multiple caustic rifts, you're not really going to be getting through these units that 1 have barrier, 2 are above 3 HP.
We're still kind of just chilling though, right? We can just do this and we don't even have to jam the caustic rift right away. In fact, we should probably be saving it. Jamming it right now doesn't do anything. We can lock this in and then do it in response, or do it even on the following turn. Yeah, this is not a bad angle either, but this does lose pretty heavily to the single combat, so I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah, it's tough because there's always like those are always like the little decisions that you have to make. All right, like, do I do this? Is it worth it now? Could I just wait? And truth be told, like it's sometimes hard to tell. Was surprised not to see the single combat come out. I guess it makes sense. You don't necessarily need to use it. It's probably more important to use that on either the set or, more importantly, probably the karma. Especially now that we're more getting closer and closer to round 10.
Yeah, that's true. Not having an answer for karma is going to be, sorry, keeping an answer for karma around is going to be very, very important for Successor's chances of winning this game. And now here, he's going to go ahead and just use the moral support that he drew off the top to protect this Broadwing. I'm pretty happy to do that, I think, in his shoes. You're not getting a whole lot more value out of this, and it's going to put your Chen at level up.
Oh, swing.
Cool. Nice block.
Okay.
We can use a coin here, but that's probably a little hasty. Looks like we're going to do it.
Ooh, the apple dark. Okay. I wonder if we'll see form up. Wow, a whole deny.
There's honestly, are there better targets? Not really.
Probably not. I mean, aside from Hex Obliterator, but like your opponent's kind of like hasn't done that already.
Yeah.
Ooh, tap the karma.
The second form up is huge.
Oh my gosh, that's so nasty.
This is just game, right?
I believe so. It's going down to 1 because the formidable unit is gonna lose 1 HP. But even so, like, we have the form up. Like, this double form up, boom, done. What you gonna do?
And actually opting to, okay. I was gonna say, you can technically kill the 4-drop, and that's probably better than just putting 3 damage into the Broadwing. Either way, you're losing to form up, so may as well try and kill the thing with more HP, with more attack. But Carica actually opts not to do it. So, regardless, still dying.
I guess this way, on the Broadwing.
This way it loses exactly to double form up, whereas the other way loses to single form up. So this probably was the correct line to take.
Yeah. Good find. Okay. I definitely understand why they let Karma set through, because with that kind of mid-range deck, like, yes, we saw like the early units got decimated. Right? It was like bah, 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 like shut off. But now once you really got your mid-range game plan on with these 4 HP units, like, okay, can't really do anything. And our draw cards were kind of just in our hand. Like, we couldn't really draw anything. Even I'm wondering if maybe if we did the draw earlier, but even so, it's kind of difficult, especially when you're facing these threats on the board. It's like, okay, like I would really love to draw some answers, but I quite literally need to use what I have in hand just to stay alive.
Yeah, even these slower mid-range decks that Successor was playing, the Alawi Swain and the Jarvan Shen, they're still faster than Karma, right? Karma comes online at turn 10. These decks come online turn 6 with the Jarvan, turn 7 with the Swain, right? Their decks are formed, his decks were formed to win the game before turn 10. That's what they want to do naturally. And they're playing the game in a way that, like you said, they're just slamming big unit after big unit, and that could be more problematic for Karma to deal with without very specific hands that involve stuff like double stuns, recalls. But those are expensive, so they need to have mana. And if they're saving mana for those, then they're taking damage from the early game units, right? So it's this very fine line that the Karma deck needs to tread, and the devs are very on point. Karma should be allowed to have this big end game turn because they have to play this whole mini game of dancing all the way up to that.
Yeah, like I had saw a lot of feedback in regards to like the devs saying, "Oh, like we like Karma, like she gets around 10 and gets to do her thing," and I feel like that should be in the game. And like some players were kind of pushing back on that, saying, once she gets there, it doesn't feel good. But like, I guess there's also like the contrary. It's like you have to think about it. Okay, this person has to get to round 10. Sure, Karma has like some good matchup tables into certain decks, but there are others that are just like, hey, I'm gonna stomp on you, and good luck making it to round 10. I think one of the other decks, more notably, and I think possibly the most popular mid-range deck, I want to say is what, Aatrox Vayne?
Yeah.
I want to say, because I know I've used that one. Like I see Karma set, I'm like, ooh, Karma set. Ooh, look at this free win real quick. But
the deck has a lot of skill levels, and it takes a lot of skill to pilot. So even if you're playing favored matchups, you need to be working hard to get to that end game, and you should be rewarded when you're able to accomplish that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And even so, like I feel like round 10, also isn't necessarily GG for your opponent. Like sure, like you like the karma gets to round 10, but there are even times where you can actually like kind of even push it through because like so what they get on 10-10 and like they have the draw. At some point, if they don't draw into the cards they need, or if they end up suddenly get a brick hand from their draw, then it's just like, okay, you know, I can kind of push this through. It's definitely way more difficult, mind you, and it doesn't necessarily uh feel hopeful when you're staring down a card but just like drawing through the entire deck and suddenly creating answers. But it definitely has you can get past it. It's not complete GG.
Yeah, there's definitely games where it can happen. That's for sure. Been some very, very interesting games tonight. Some very awesome games tonight.
I like the fact that we're kind of like seeing a little bit of everything. Like we're seeing
Mhm.
a little bit of the old decks. We're seeing a lot of the new ones that are currently on ladder and currently on the the different tier lists that are out and about. And we get to see like why are they good? Why are people playing them? And hopefully, I'm wondering how that's really going to affect the other tournaments. I'm not sure in your experience, because I understand that like you are playing in the Age tournament. What kind of decks have you been seeing there, and how do you feel like those have been influenced by the current meta or
So that
developing
tournament
meta?
changes up things a little bit. You get to see a wider meta game in that environment just because of the nature of the lineup restriction. You can only bring the same decks among 2 out of your 3 players. So just because of that, you get to see so many more different decks. So I've been seeing everything in that deck in that tournament so far. I've even played decks that I've never touched before, like look in that tournament, just because it made sense for the week. I was targeting Aatrox, and I was like, I'm gonna eat that
Mm,
Aatrox. So it's definitely whenever there's an outside tournament, the other tournaments have their metagame influenced quite heavily. I find the winning
mm,
lineup usually then becomes the lineup that the smarter players are looking to beat because they expect that'll become the most popular lineup for a tournament like this.
yeah,
And we kind of didn't actually see, we kind of saw that sort of. We definitely saw, I don't know if you saw the 5v5 the other night with the Master Runeterra guys
I think
versus
bits and
the Red
pieces,
Pub
bits and
games.
pieces.
So there was a lot of, there was not too much Fizz Samira in that one, but there was a lot of champion strength Tristana. There was a lot of players that had brought that deck, so I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing so much of that in today's tournament. And I think part of the reason why we're seeing stuff like Evelyn Lucian in today's tournament is because it showed up in that 5v5 as well.
Mm, makes sense. Makes sense. I know for our tournaments, which I actually just peeped right now. In every single one of our tournaments, like really number 4, but all of the other ones, the one deck that has always been tried and true, has always made it to the very end, is deep. And I don't see a single deep deck that was brought. And like I'm double checking myself, like trying to be absolutely sure, but there's no deep. And I'm pretty
There's
sure the deep
five
right
deep
now,
players.
where they at? Am I bugging?
We got Croc, we got Void, we got Falchetto, Nomu, and Grave Trail, all on deep.
Ignore me then, I'm a silly goose. What the hell? Why isn't it popping up for me?
Maokai Nautilus, bro.
Oh shoot, it is glitched. Okay. I have found the answer. I'm looking at the deck stats that shows like the percentages and everything,
Mm,
and deep isn't showing.
okay.
I blame myself. I did something wrong. I will fix that later. But disregard my entire statement. We have a bunch of deep players. So
Yeah.
retract. Deep is always been in all of our tournaments. It's always made it to the very end. I'm excited to see 5 deep players.
I mean, Void's still in it by the looks of it, so Deep could definitely make it all the way to the end. Void's a super strong player.
Let's see. Let's see. BPP.
Oh, I
We
lied.
have
Void.
our
Void lost.
no. All right, let's see. I believe we do have the next game. It's gonna be Rekesay versus shadawx. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Gotta go add shadow. Let's see. Think. Add them both.
Oh, pretty. I wonder what shadawx brought tonight. Shadawx is always on Swiss plays.
No, that's a fact. Like I'm already seeing Team Tristana, Fist Mirror, and then Heimer Jace. Good decks, reliable decks. I'm curious to see if this is the Bilgewater or the Demacian version though of
Lost, yeah.
Demacia. Okay, makes sense. Like I said, champion strength is just really that powerful.
I guess so. The Inferna. Yeah, these are pretty standard lists all the way down by the looks of it so far. Nothing spicy coming out of shadawx tonight. That's a shame. Guess he's taking things seriously with his new prep group.
I mean, it makes sense. Like if you want to like really start trying some decks, especially if you're preparing for like the Aegis tournaments or even the bigger tournaments, you can, you know, go into these smaller ones and like really test out your lineup and see how it tastes against other players.
Yeah. There's like no better place to test out a new lineup or decks that you're considering than an environment like this one. Everybody's trying seriously, everybody's testing new things themselves, so you really get a feel for what other people are looking at and what you want to be looking to tech your decks against, not only, as well as what is good to play.
All right, so we are in the game 10-5 already, 34 minutes in, so we're pretty much, I want to say, at the end of game 1.
I'm Rajasmir. Could also be end of game 2, to be honest. With the other two decks that shadawx is playing, those games can't go quite fast.
Especially if it's just a pass fest, like if it's like control, just like pass. Like we don't really do anything. We don't know Rekesay and got a nice progress day going.
Yeah, really nice progress day. This is also going to activate some fumes here, which is kind of funny. We might be able to finish off the Jace, depending on what it goes to pull.
Oh, okay. We are going to be able to. 3 damage, some fumes. Let's go. I continue.
I was going to say, the fact that shadawx has a harrowing here is really funny.
Yeah, like just last tournament, we had a player, actually Trustiano, picked up harrowing and ended up using that to win the game on Jaysheimer. It was really nice.
It's very, very powerful on this list, especially if you can start recalling and reviving some of these hex deck handlers. Your board suddenly becomes massive. See if shadawx decides to slam it here, and if he does, what is going to pop back? We haven't exactly had a chance to look at the early path of this game, so we don't know what's in the death pool, right? Just quite yet.
They're playing units out. Can't fight us because everything's been buffed.
Can play another Pharaoh's Finance here to see if there's something else, or we can just go for the Soul Harvest.
Soul Harvest. I don't mind Soul Harvest. I mean, Heimerdinger is a 2/4 right now. Ooh, another Hextech handler. Oh gosh.
Well, one of our own.
A second Harrowing? No, we probably go with Vengeance or Shock Blast. I can see that.
Shock Blast gives us Mystic Shot outs, so I'm a big fan of that. Also, we're probably just winning the game at this point with this Shock Blast.
Yeah, now our board is just too wide.
Yeah. Still just too wide. Or at least forcing blocks.
This is scary. Like, even on our next attack round, we can just simply harrowing and then we'll end it right then and there. Unless Rekesay is able to answer with a ruination.
And we're trading here. There's nothing Rekesay can develop here. I wonder if Rekesay has a harrowing of their own. That'd be really funny.
That would be so funny. Oh,
That's scary too.
Oh, there's no more Jaces. Okay.
Wait, there's really no more Jaces.
There's no more Jaces. There's either no more Jaces or one of the Jaces is in hand.
That's true. They could all be in hand. But then
no one's dead. Oh, you saw that?
What?
Damn it! Hey, yo!
What?
Nah,
what
the
happened?
Rekesay must have played so many 6-cost spells that this Albus is doing a whole 12 damage. Look at this! Oh my god!
That's insane!
What is this?
Whoa.
That was disgusting! I saw negative 18 and I was just like... I mean... Albus got buffed quite a little bit ago, and if you're really in that grinding game, like, I feel like if anything, with Jaysheimer in particular, if you're like running Albus, which I feel like you should, I don't know, probably not, definitely not out of 3, probably like a 2 or 1 of. If you're in not darkness, either mirrors or just like control mirrors where you're like really just trying to grind the other opponent out. I feel like that card is like the card to have because you know by the time you put it down last game, okay, so then it looks like that. Whew, wow.
Yeah, that was wild. That was a really really wild way for shadawx to go down and fall out of this tournament, and for Rekesay to make their way into what's going to be, I guess, the semifinals here.
Yeah, I believe so. Let me go ahead and double check.
Very quick series as well. All
Yeah,
the
can we
games done in
like we
like
walked
12
into
minutes.
yeah, we've walked into like two, 3 control matchups that are like still have 30 minutes on the clock, and then it's just like GG, game over. We've already ran through the other two. It's like, what are y'all doing in these games that y'all running through it this fast?
It's just impressive. They know their lines, you know? Don't even have to think.
I mean,
Just,
hey, like if you run a deck like I myself, RIP Anivia. That was my deck. Anytime I didn't care what I had to fight. I'm playing Anivia. I love zombie Anivia. When I tell you the way that I'd autopilot and just have every line memorized and like comfortable doing, just letting my hand, not even thinking, my hand's just working by itself at that point. You have that much experience on the deck, you just run through it. You know exactly what you got to do. You already know what cards to think of, how you want to play it.
definitely. I can definitely relate to that feeling. I used to play a ton of I play a ton of Echo. Echo kind of plays itself for me at this point, but it helps because Echo really likes me, and he always puts chrono breaks on my first predicts.
Echo
And
really likes me.
sometimes he even puts the chrono break on the first card. So it's amazing.
Let me tell you something. I played my own Echo decks, like just like the meta ones that were like coming about. I had the worst luck. Nothing. I couldn't get anything. I was just like, why is this that good? And then like I would fight against it and be like, oh, okay, I understand. I just have bad luck.
I just miss Hexite Crystal. That card was so much more fun. Made
No.
the deck so much better.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see the Hex like Now tell me, like I understand that you're not necessarily a fan of Jinx. What are your like true thoughts around that, and what kind of Echo decks do you primarily like making, and have you like experimented with anything that's kind of like on the side? It's not really so popular, like in on the tier list.
Yeah, I was playing a little bit of Echo Teemo earlier this season. I think that's
Echo
still
Teemo.
probably one of the better places to be at, just because Teemo's an elusive one drop.
I mean, true.
That's the only reason we're on Teemo. And I'm like back to the Station Archivist stuff. I straight up stole Duckling's list. I don't know if you remember Duckling, the seasonal
Yeah.
champion. Yeah. Yep, found his list, took it shamelessly, and then I
It's
tweaking
fake.
it a little bit and playing with it, still messing around with it. I think Jinx is like okay, especially if you don't get baited into taking suboptimal plays for the Jinx. But I think a lot of people get baited into taking suboptimal plays for the Jinx, and then you run into hands where Jinx is just like super clunky, and I don't know. The bird damage is valuable and super important to some matchups, but I think you can just get there with Chrono Break a lot more often, especially in the current metagame where you're looking to beat a lot of the swarm style stuff, and Chrono Break does that more effectively than Jinx in a lot of spots.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, and I would also think that would Chrono Break be champion strength? Because right, you get that first, they get that first swing in, you block it, then you resummon everybody, and then you just block it in, and you're Gucci. Like you don't have to even worry about that. So I could
Also, you
definitely
have
see the
Deny.
power. True. Yeah, you are running. You do have deny. Don't even have to like think anything else about that.
Yeah, Deny kind of just shuts that deck down, so
Just
you don't
like
feel too bad.
you want to summon the champions. Let me introduce you to a little bit of sand real quick. How about that?
Or in a pinch, you can even quicksand. Like just go 2-1 and like you crush half their board, and it's like okay,
Yeah,
yeah, you can scout attack into me twice, but then like I'm just gonna chrono break afterwards, and I'm still fine. So
yeah. It's vicious. We are about to go into the next game. It is going to be Galy versus Rekesay. So Rekesay ended up moving forward, ended up but beating shadawx.
exciting, very very exciting series about to come forward.
That's a factual statement. Now, let's take a look at their decks. So we already seen Galy play, but in the North and Vigar, Hammer Jace, Gwen Riven. I really want to see Gwen Riven come down. I want to see what it does. Hopefully it doesn't get banned. And then we have Rekesay on
Lurk,
Ike
Karmaset,
Rek'Sai.
Hammer
Karmaset,
Days.
Hammer Days. I'm glad that
Yeah,
I see Lurk because if their name is Rekesay and they're not playing Rek'Sai, I'd be very disappointed.
that's very true. I think Lurk is a little out of place in this lineup as well, though. I'm not gonna lie. It makes
looks
some
like
sense, I suppose. It's
it
still
looks like
kind
a
of eating.
favorite.
Yeah, it's a fan favorite deck, and that's fine. I respect it. Just like you were saying, especially when you're just starting out, trying to figure out what a lineup
Mhm.
is, can be very difficult. So,
Yeah.
figuring decks that you're comfortable on and just let you show your own skill expression and show your own mastery is very, very
Mhm.
important. It's something I've done a lot myself as well. So, no shade on that one. I respect it. I hope we get to see them do super well as well.
Oh, we're going into game. Let's go. Let's go. It's loading. We see it. We have it. We get to play Gwen Riven.
Ooh, let's
Lord.
go. And the
Okay.
foyer off the top. This is a really good opening hand
Oh,
from
it
both players,
is.
actually.
Look at this. Oh, double predict.
And it gets better with the Gwen. And the Riven. Oh my.
Wow.
This hand is nuts.
Coming down. Apps to not go for the trade. I like it. You don't necessarily have to. You can keep that unit in the back line. Go ahead and swing with your predict units to increase that saving for later when it has higher damage. And we draw into Pike? I'm actually surprised not to see us use the Call the Pack onto Pike, but I guess you do want to kind of like swing wider.
Yeah, we can do it on future turn. I kind of like just developing the Chronomancer and attacking with that this turn. It gets a free trade, and like we can save the to go wide for a future turn when that's more impactful, or just continue to have blockers.
Yeah.
There's lots of options though, and I'm sure Rekesay knows what they're doing and has an idea of how they want to play this and how this matchup at least somewhat is going to go. Maybe the Gwen Riven matchup isn't so familiar, but like you said, it's got to be somewhat reminiscent of the Katarina Gwen deck from previous metagames, so I'm sure they played this at least once or twice.
Nah, because Holler with Riven looks like it can get really crazy.
That's true. That does look a little messed up. Chronomancer's going to come down here, and this is an opportunity to maybe put the Pike on top.
I can see the argument.
Yeah, it looks like that might be.
There we go.
This also lets you kind of safely draw the Chamber of Renewal if that's what you opted to choose for. Which maybe is a reasonable choice, but maybe you just want to skip.
Okay, Gwen. No, I don't think it's too bricky that we have like double champion, because at least Riven can give us some more damage and even a possible keyword, like whether it be quick attack or overwhelm.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's kind of funny that we drew 4 champions though. And
Right?
5 if you count the foyer.
Oh, here we go. State of Exile.
Actually, this is kind of fucked up. Like, both our champions are about to flip here. Our Gwen has overwhelm. Our Riven is getting bonus damage off of this Hallowed as well. Ooh.
Wait, it doubles it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, that's a little gross.
Because if you're even able to give her quick attack or overwhelm, that's just like GG.
Galy
man.
definitely on something here with this one.
Okay, Quietus. Not really gonna be able to affect any of the units. We still have, I mean, we don't necessarily want to hate spike, but we could play a unit. Okay, we can hit their fearsome.
Like that a lot, actually.
No, I wonder
Fearsome
if
is very pesky.
yeah. I wonder if you do Chamber of Renewal before
It must be done.
Pike.
I don't know if it works, but
Oh no, it does.
I
It does.
assume that you would. It does it work? Okay. Then,
Yeah, it does work.
I think you got to do it, right?
Yeah, I ought to make the argument for it. Yep, there it goes.
Never tire of something so grand. Heart and
We
brain.
really need Rekesay though. Oh my god, these champions.
Yeah, I think we're just dead, right?
I think so. Like, we haven't really given Blade of Exile to anything, which I kind of like, right? You're being patient with it. You're letting your opponent maybe use their removal tools or, like, you know, go ahead and get
second
blocks
Pike.
in.
I didn't even realize.
Wait, that could actually be really nasty.
We don't have the mana to play it, unfortunately. But
Yeah. We only have 3 lurks, so that's 6 damage in hand in total. This gives how many? It
I
gives
think
2
that's
more.
the quick attack blade fragment, luckily. But we are going to go ahead and slap this down now. So now Pike has to come down,
They
right?
just needed some
Yeah, we have to kill her.
We should do it before the attack, otherwise we're taking 2 minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So this is good. And then Hate Spike comes out
Mm.
there. It feels bad, but it's like still okay. But then there's another Gwen, and that's an Overwhelm Fragment. Oh my goodness, Galy high rolling just a little bit. Not that it matters. He's still winning in this position, even if it's any other Husk. But you know, that's gonna guarantee that this game is ending right now.
Yep, there it goes. We realized that. What do you do there? You can't. Gonna go ahead and hit the GG. We're moving on to the next game. We know, hey, time is still a resource. We don't necessarily have to stay in this game if we're knowing we're in a pretty, bad position. Go ahead and move on to the next game, save some time so that we'll have opportunities to maybe think a little bit harder if we are like playing any of the other decks. But what was that? Like
That was fast.
Gwen? Like, ooh, hold up.
We saw double
up.
pike and it was like not enough. That's
At
not, it's
all.
not every day that you see that, right? Like double pike is usually enough to deal with anything. Not this time.
I mean, even so, we also didn't really get that many lurks off, right? Because we're kind of in the position where we're forced to block and now we're losing units. And then it's like, okay, if I go to swing in for my lurk, I am going to essentially lose out on a blocker that I absolutely need. Because at the end of the day, Riven's a beefy girl. She can block. And so can Gwen without 4 HP.
Raravin is definitely hard to deal with, that's for sure. She's very quietly become one of the premium 3-mana champions at this point, but she doesn't have a deck that she really fits into, so maybe Galy cracked the code, maybe he found it, maybe he found the Raravin deck that I've been looking for, and he is the savior. But back to the game at hand, we do have a Heimer Jacemirror. Now this one's not quite as bad as the Vagar ones, but these can be a little bit Resident Sleeper as well. And we see a Song Spitter as an option. It's probably
we already know what Rekesay is trying to do. We're trying to play as many 6-cost spells as possible and get the Albus Pharaohs down. We're trying to do 18 damage to Dome.
That was messed up. I can't believe they played that many 2-cost spells in a single game. We're just gonna see the Caustic Rift come out here. This is pretty good. Denies a little bit of mana off the Forge Chief. Not that that really matters in this spot, considering we're just gonna pass it down anyways. But it doesn't really become better in this matchup.
Yeah, I wonder if you save the Caustic Rift for the tech box that are gonna come down. But even so, you know that this Hextech Cannoneer, once that comes down, it's basically useless. It's also useless if they all get tough. So I guess
I was just gonna make the argument that if the Caustic Rift isn't played, you just don't play that card until after you've played the Hextech Handler, and then like you invalidate it that way. But,
yeah,
again, you can just high roll in tough, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Now, I'm wondering. I've always wondered how this card works, right? Production Surge. Does it, like, at certain mana cost, does it always have a guarantee, or is it randomized between the mana? Like, if I have, let's say, 6 mana, is it going to play all 2 drops, or is it could possibly play the 4 drop and the 2 drop?
It could play any combination of things.
Okay, any combination.
I think it is weighted towards certain variables, and I think it also looks at the board state to see what it can do. But it's not consistent whatsoever. It is super consistent for my opponents. My opponents always get exactly what they need, and I always get exactly what I don't. So it's just
understandable.
That's why I don't play this deck.
I mean, hey, we got Heimer on board. We are going to be able to get an Armored Stomper. Not necessarily the one you want, because primarily we go for the elusive one, which costs 6 mana. But look at these units. We got a 5/1, 2/1/1 with jump block.
Deciding to get our own Heimer on the board, that's
level up.
The opponents. I guess this signals that we want to be drawing with second Heimer next turn, maybe? Or just making more 2-drops.
It's about to be the War of the Robots. That's what this is about to be. Because I don't think there's not an Overwhelm robot. I'm not.
There's the 4-drop.
Is the 4? Oh, the 4-drop has Overwhelm. Okay. Oh yeah, we do have that one. That's a 4/1. Okay.
5/2 in this case. We do have a Hextech Handler put on the board, or at least one that came down earlier. But Albus Pharaohs was picked up last turn, so Rekesay is going to be going for their signature line without a doubt at this point.
Ripping it. Also ripping it. You can't. If I can have my Heimerdinger, you can't have your Heimerdinger.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
This is so funny. Oh man, how do you? I feel like the. I mean, I guess this ToF really comes in handy because I was gonna say how do you win this, but because the ToF prevents some trades from going on. Sure, you'll trade one, but you get to keep the other. Only the one where Wobbles can't trade in, so you always maintain those units on the field, or at least for a little bit longer than normally. But I'm wondering if the win con simply is Atlas Furrows for both players, even.
I am not sure.
Because we know this is about to be the swiftest vengeance of Galy's life.
Yeah, you just have to fire this vengeance off immediately at this point, I think. You could consider going formula first, but you probably just want to be holding that for your own Jace, so that way you can get some draw power.
Yeah.
Or even for Heimerdinger, because Heimerdinger double formula here is pretty nuts.
Nasty. Ooh, Soul Harvest. Gotta cash in now. Get the elusive. We do not put our opponent on 6. Don't worry, Runeterra. We Runeterra players, we don't do math. We look at something called the eye, and it does the math for us.
The eye is so blessed, man. Say what you will about the devs, who are phenomenal, but the one truly goated thing that they did was give us the eye. That is such a blessed piece of technology. It was worth the suffering they had to endure.
Imagine if we didn't have the eye. You know how chaotic this game would be?
It'd be insane. It'd be impossible to play a lot of the time.
Oh, now check this out though. Although we did lose out on the elusive 7-2, we have Adaptatron, a little French fry guy. He maintains all the keywords and protects that are played, so we do get to keep this elusive. And it's a 2-4, like that's not necessarily easy to get rid of.
No, it's not. The 2-4 is quite an annoying stat line without the Soul Harvest or the Quietus to deal with it. And Quietus, even now with the nerf to it, you have to damage it first. So that's definitely not dealing with it effectively. But Rekesay has picked up 2 more Heimerdingers here. So they're in a very good position after refilling with this
draw power.
Galy gets to do the same though. We did find our own Jace and the formula here. The Ruination, Hexsplitter, and Assembly Line. All interesting choices.
Ooh, Hexsplitter, okay, I like it. Now, I do want to double check something on Rekesay's lineup. Because I know some Heimer Jace decks have been running Missed Call. Rekesay is not. Let's check out Galy real quick. Yeah, neither player is running Missed Call. I've seen a few. Like, I personally really like Missed Call, especially in Darkness decks. Because I get rid of Jaeger and it's just like, okay, bring him back.
I like it a lot in the Darkness deck because you really need your champions to win there, and you don't play a lot of units, so it's pretty much always bringing back your champions. But in this deck, it's a lot better to like kind of randomly get through some way or another, which you can't really do. But it's not necessarily the best main deck because you're often losing just turrets or one of these 2-1s, or you don't have a unit to like bring it back.
Like, this is nasty. We already saw the Shock Blast come down, putting our opponent on 4. We have an elusive that's going to put them on 2, so we are in Mystic Shot range.
Hey, show me that again.
When we're drawing... Oh, that's good. Look at this draw power.
Oh, wow.
Where's Chief? Quietus. Okay.
Yeah, we're in a really, really good spot here. We can kind of do whatever we want and just be okay. We should probably just open attack because we're winning that way. It forces a response. But even if we wanted to develop, this is
okay.
Fine. This is actually fine. We still have ways to deal with anything they can do. If they drop a Heimerdinger, we just immediately go after it. This does give them action economy to do exactly the vengeance with the Heimerdinger, but you can't really... I guess you have to play around that.
Oh, Dawning Shadow. I like it. I'm gonna go ahead and reduce everything. But look at this.
The end of the game, though. It's actually the losing line. Oh, wow. And because the
they don't have elusive.
Granted the all elusive, shared all the keywords.
Oh, no.
So, very, very well played by Galy there.
Definitely. Like, I can
able to find his win condition.
I can see Rekesay's reasoning for going for the Dawning Shadow. I've been like, hey, okay, I kill a unit, I get to reduce everything's attack, but then it comes down to, okay, what can my opponent respond to? I guess the scariest thing right there probably would have been Production Surge, right? It's multiple units, they're all going to share a keyword, I'm not going to be able to block them. Hoping that they didn't have it, right? You can't, sometimes you got to kind of play like in a sense where like I guess if they got it, they got it. I'm not sure if there was a way out outside of Dawning Shadow.
We did have a Ruination in hand as well, which is like, why are we playing the Dawning Shadow when we have the Ruination that deals with more units? And like either way, we're tapping out of our hand completely. Like holding the 3 mana doesn't really represent anything in that position. So, alternatively, we could have just continued to play out more units, or just passed and like been like, we're gonna hold the Vengeance, and then or slam the Heimerdinger and just held the Vengeance and blocked with the Heimerdinger and gotten a free card that way. There were a couple different options for the way that turn could have been played out, and we kind of took the one choice that was the most losing, I think. Which is a bit unfortunate, but it's definitely a learning moment. High pressure situation in the semifinals of a tournament.
For sure.
Very, very strong player sitting across the table for you. Galy, has top seasonals before. So
Let's say
not
Galy
a
is no
nobody.
stranger. Not a nobody at all. Back when Mystic Shot was running, I've cast all the time with Rekesay. Definitely seen Galy come through and do some numbers. Like these are names on the lineup.
Mhm.
Let's see. We're got I think we're still waiting on one of the other matches. Galy has Rekesay has moved forward. I think Loud 420 and Successor might still be playing. Yep, we're waiting on them. Let me go ahead and check on that real quick.
Nice.
Now, in your experience, when you have played in tournaments or when you go into like some of these grassroots tournaments, what advice do you think you would give players who are like kind of like trying to create a lineup? I would think that maybe something that's really good to do is to kind of like look at the meta and see how that is. But even so, I feel like I've seen kind of like the opposite. Like when I look at them, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I expect all this, and then I go into it, and I'm like, oh wow, these are like completely different than what I would have thought they would have been.
I would start by looking at any tournament lineup sheets from like the last 2 weeks that you can get your hands on, and just seeing what was most popular, and then going to any stats website and trying to counter the most popular decks. The way you do that is usually by punching in the decks and then sorting by their worst matchups, and then trying to find decks in those worst matchups that have other common good matchups. So it takes a lot of manual filtering and sorting, but it's worth the effort. You can definitely set up like Excel spreadsheets to do this a little bit more efficiently for you, but that takes a little bit more work up front. So depends how you want to distribute the workload. The other thing you can do, you can just take the winning lineup from the previous week. That's always a good idea. Does leave you a little bit off to people trying to beat it, but it's winning for a reason. It's strong, right? Like
100%.
And then you can always fall back on comfort and just play 3 decks that you really like, and that's never a bad way to get your foot in the door and get yourself started on competing. Once you get started, it becomes a lot easier to figure out where you're going to go for future resources and stuff like that, because you meet people and you connect and you start talking to others and seeing what they're doing.
Love it. And like if we're looking at game right here, we have an Alawi deck versus an Alawi deck, and it seems like Alawi's paying a quick visit to Noxus and is just dominating right now. We saw the Riptide Servant come out, a card that was being featured in Pirate Aggro way back, and ended up getting a little bit of a nerf because it was too strong.
Yeah, it seems like a really good start for Successor here. And then no Jarvan for Lout either is also fantastic here. This is a little bit unfortunate, but there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Now we can respond with the Pirouette and stun out the Tentacle and kill the 4-1, or we can just hit okay and see what they do and just chill.
Because you didn't even really need to do anything, right? Because, I mean, you already know a form-up was used earlier. So next round you can say the Pirouette for your open swing. Because even though, like, the 7/7 is going to be overwhelmed, you can, like, more so guarantee that, like, hey, you better have another unit or it's going to be a problem.
I don't actually like this that much. I would have much rather watched us like to use the Scorched Earth here, because they're tapped out. There's no other units. Although I guess we can save the Scorched Earth now as a combat trick to just guarantee that lethal's happening. Nah, Successor's a genius. I love it. I love it. There's no way to die now. There's no way to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Went ahead and set up that Scorched Earth. That was easy. I like this. Already that was nice in hand. You know that, hey, I have Overwhelm. I don't need to kill the units right now, per se. I just need to prep them. Because if for those of you who might be watching that are unfamiliar with Runeterra, Overwhelm is a keyword that lets you do damage past the unit. So let's say a unit has 3 HP, you have 5 damage, and Overwhelm 2 HP gets to go through. But if that unit suddenly disappears, whether it's killed, recalled, stunned, whatever the case may be, suddenly all of that damage is not going to go through. And that's exactly what we saw right here. Although of the opponent didn't block, we had prepped for that, knowing that, hey, if they do, he is still taking all this damage.
Yeah, very, very well said. Overall, super strong keyword. One of the favorites of EMEA's favorite Overwhelm player, Rico Rex, who you guys might know from Twitter. But Successor, also a big Overwhelm fan. You know, he's played a lot of Yetis in the past, been known for that archetype back in the day.
Ooh, okay.
But today we're going to see him on a different sort of mid-range. We saw him already come out ahead with the Alawi Swain. Now we're going to see if he can do it with the Shen Jarvan yet again. Shen Jarvan, one of the oldest decks in the game, been around since the beginning, but hasn't been strong in a very long time. Rotation brought Ashe Nox back, but hasn't done the same for this one.
And yeah, at all. Like Shen Fiora was just so strong before, and then we also have Shen Jarvan. I mean, I even saw like a Shen Lulu at some point. Don't know what that was about, but I think it involved like the dragons and being able to like really, you know, just buff up the board.
Back when we had like 3-mana rally.
Remember that? 3 mana. Like that's crazy to think of right now, because rallies now are like 5 mana and up. And it's like, yeah, you need to cost. Unless you're Samira, then just play a few spells and you're good.
Samira can do what she wants. She's different.
Ooh, going for a swing here. That's so nutty. You go for the swing, bluffing something.
Yeah, you're representing damage, boss, right? Like, what are they gonna do? Block it into their boss and then just lose a unit for free? That's not great. And then Shen here. Shen is pretty big here because he has barrier himself now since he's been buffed all those patches.
Nice blocking. That's such a good buff too. That feels so good.
That's really important for him too. It just helps progress his level up condition as well, which is the other nice thing about it. It was a 2-for-1 buff, lets him stabilize and be more effective on the board the turn he comes down, because he does have to enter combat to gain value in the first place, and then also lets them cheat a buff on his level up condition because they don't have to actually reduce it, but he's getting one less cost on it just automatically because he himself has barrier.
Yeah, definitely. Now, like, I'm wondering, how do you feel about this matchup in general? I feel like, you know, with the Alawi J4 deck, you don't necessarily have access to the barriers. Like, sure, you have form up and buff spells, but you really need to be swinging in. And I guess Alawi is kind of like the only overwhelm unit, unless you're able to get the full combo off with your other units. And then with Successor, right, all these we can Shen spell, you know, lifesteal. We have all of these other options that could just simply, hey, you're gonna swing. You have no choice but to swing because you're not going overhead with me. You now suddenly need to like deal with these barrier units.
I feel like Successor is going to be in a very good position if he can continue to control this board with his challenger units like this dragon. And it looks like he is going to be put at risk here because Loud is going for a form up tentacle smash, but we do have a form up of our own that's going to deny this and let us take out this tentacle, and we can trade the Shen into the Ilawi, but that doesn't feel so bad.
Because Alawi at that point, like, she's naturally a 2/6. If you're able to get rid of the tentacle is like, okay, you have a tentacle. What are you gonna do with it? Then even vice versa.
Like, Successor's thinking about it, but I'm pretty confident you're just supposed to rip the form up here. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of other reasons to hold it back.
I mean, I can see the argument being that you want to form up the dragon to kill the Alawi instead.
That's fair. That's fair. But I think if you're controlling the tentacle, you're controlling the Alawi as well.
Yeah. Okay, goes for it. There we go.
And if the Alawi takes the block on the Shen here, then she can't really attack into the dragon.
Gotta really make sure to calculate that. Because like some may be tempted, whatever, I'll lose Shen. I mean, in this case, like, you actually get a swing in and you get a free kill. Look at this. Now there's a whole 5/6. What's allowed? Look at her. She's a 2/1. What are you gonna do against this 5/6 dragon? Like,
this may be a signal that there's there's definitely a target, but I was gonna say maybe it's a signal that there's a second tentacle smash as well. You probably just hit okay here, right? Oh, I guess we don't want the healing. Yeah, no, it makes more sense to save the unit and ensure that you have a challenger to go after the threats with your barrier.
Yeah.
Probably develop your 3-drop here. Or maybe you don't. Hell, maybe you just pass it down and then you have deny backup for whatever the heck they're going to do. You open with your Jarvan pulling theirs and you win the game.
Here we go. Ooh, another Badger Bear.
Yeah, this has got to be an open attack. Let the Jarvan get pulled. Pull the Alawi with your own. Yep. Successor sees it. He knows how to win these board-based matchups. He's been playing the game long enough to understand them, and this feels really good. Not even a.
And it's a level up?
Flip. Oh my.
Oh, it's nasty.
IDC, I don't know about you, but I've had to sit across the board from a flip Jarvan, and I know that when he gets to stabilize, when he gets to sit on the board for a turn or more, he starts producing those cataclysms. That challenger barrier interaction is just way too much to deal with.
It's
No mid
bonkers.
can handle it.
Like, what? You need an alternate way to get around it.
Oh,
Here we go.
but he has it. He has the exact tentacle smash that he needs to get through it.
So we're still living. We get this. We can still play for our outs. I'm guessing we're gonna probably want to draw it into maybe a second Jarvan.
Yeah, we need another Jarvan of our own, and probably like more Alawis. Maybe an Nakakaboros if it's in this deck. We can maybe stall out enough, but with this Shen in hand and the double Badger Bear as well, things are looking pretty bad for Loud. Oh, speak of Nakakaboros, and there it is.
Okay, that's a 1-of, by the way.
It's a start, that's for sure.
A 5/6. I mean, it's gonna take forever to get this online unless we're able to like really speed run this tentacle all the way up to 12.
Yeah, and we can also just kill the Nakakaboros next turn with the challenger, right? So this is not the best spot to be in. Maybe we wanted to use the
life
now we hit barrier lifesteal as well. Okay. Do we not want to kill the Nakakaboros?
I can see the argument not to, I guess, because hey, Nakakaboros can like you can never get it off if there's no tentacle. So now you're kind of just forced to block here. And then with the secondary barrier, you know that you could just, okay, I'll block this and then I'll just get it next turn.
That's true. That's true. Also, the Shen is flipping very soon, and we're dealing a fuck ton of damage here with this 1-drop.
And like that's
this 1-drop is absurd.
It is, right? Because even like after you get these other units on board, like the Screeching Dragon, if someone just lets this 1-drop rock, it's gonna get big if you get this barrier. That we already see that now. 7-2. I think the largest one I've seen was like 24. I was like, first off, why is this a 24-2 right now? Who authorized this?
That's wild.
Ooh, deny.
So much
okay.
damage.
Deny
that's a pretty cool deny. What's the better? There's no better target, right? Like maybe a Jarvan's Cataclysm.
Yeah, I think because a lot of the tentacle smashes have already been used. So it's like, okay, I don't really have to worry about that.
Riptide Sermon is not good enough to be played in this deck. It's not doing quite enough for you here. So, no real better targets. Loud's down to only 2 cards left in hand. And this Nakakaboros is like the only real scare target. So now we get to go ahead and use our single combat to kill the Nakakaboros because, well, what else are we going to do with this mana and this card? This feels really good.
Oh man, this is because like I've seen the like I mean like personally the Alawi Jarvan deck I actually really liked it. Like I was kind of like struggling to find a deck and I was just like, yeah, let me play this because I see it. And like you can do some things with Alawi. Like sometimes if you just get that hand, you're killing your opponent at turn 4, turn 5. I'm just like, oh, this is what this does. But you can see like when you're against another mid range deck, especially a Demacian deck, right? If your deck is like really reliant on swinging and on strikes, barrier is just the biggest no. You're not going to be allowed to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and block this. And I like especially running like a riposte at a 1-of. I feel like that's got to be out of sticky situations. I feel like not a lot of people are expecting barriers. I feel like if anything, have we even really been seeing barriers at all in any of the other decks?
No, not really.
So
barriers are fantastic in these Demacia matchups as well. Like riposte has always been one of the Demacia mirror breakers. So I really, really like that it's kind of come up in this Shen Jarvan list because it's really good for these breakers, and that's what this deck kind of wants to be doing, I think.
We're running riposte at 1-of. Moral support's kind of a nutty card. That's a 2-mana barrier. All you have to do is swing with Shen once.
Yep. That is really nice in this deck as well. I'm a little bit surprised that card hasn't seen more use outside of it. Man, Lout really good at drawing these Alaois though. And now we're gonna go ahead and block down.
Look at this,
it doesn't
8-12.
I mean, we should just block barrier, right? Slip these.
Okay, choosing not to. I guess you don't necessarily really need to, per se.
I guess, yeah. If this is all that's happening, then we are still retaining all of our units, and we're still.
I think Cataclysm's
working
scary,
illegal.
though.
Cataclysm is a little scary.
And like,
now that you said it, it's gonna happen.
Is that it? If you're gonna do, you have to, Lau. You have to.
It's not lethal though, is it?
I don't think so. No. Even on the 9-2.
It's off by 1, and you sacrifice your Alawi into nothing, and then you don't have any outs.
Oh my gosh! You know what's crazy?
Hmm.
Only swinging with Alawi.
Yeah.
You keep
that was the right line.
You swing again with Cataclysm. You increase Alawi even more because there's no limit to it. You're always gonna take all of the stats at the tactical.
Yep, you're right. That was the winning line. Loud missed it if this is in fact a Cataclysm, and it is. And they're gonna go ahead and try to kill the Jarvan or the Shen. Sorry, but it's not gonna be enough because we can see the moral support in hand, and with Shen's 5 HP, we're not even threatening a lethal. Yeah, you saw the line, IDC. Like that's fantastic thinking. Like super heads up. I didn't even think about that. Leave the tentacle back, swing in with just the
You wanna
Alawi.
know why I know that line? I know it because Path to Champions.
Ooh.
I've been playing Alawi Path to Champions, and she's just utter bonkers.
Yeah, she's insane in Path of Champions. I know she's my highest level Path of Champions champion.
Let me tell you, listen, you know then.
I know. Bro, I'm level 21 in that mode. I play way too much Path.
We live on 1.
We do live on 1, and we have a King Jarvan here. So.
Oh man.
Interesting spot.
Single combat?
Oh, okay, we're keeping.
Oh wait, no, we don't.
Oh.
Okay, we just want to for a trade.
Okay, yeah, just forcing a trade. That makes sense.
Oh, NSC's voice.
Now Jarvan's going to be drawn onto the deck. He is flipped still, so this looks pretty done for a Successor. Very, very well played up until this point. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I don't think there's anything that Loud can do from here. Even a Jarvan from their side won't do it, and they recognize the same thing. Go ahead and throw out the GG surrender.
GG though. That was really well played. Like and like both players are like really like looking at it. They're trying to make their plays. They're trying to keep controlling the board. But like as you were saying earlier, when it's a Demacian deck versus the Demacian deck, the Demacian deck that's able to keep its units alive, it's probably the one that's gonna have success. And mind you, we didn't really get to see like the Shen level too early in the game. We did get a pretty early Alawi level up. Like she came through, but it was just the fact that we had any answer to deal with her. It's like, damn, what do you do at that point?
We saw a lot of Alawis that game. That was like what?
So many Alawis. I think was that like literally all 3? Oh man.
2 or 3 Alawis plus 2 Jarvans, 1 from each player, plus I guess 2 Jarvans from Successor because he drew the other one with the king at the end. So 3 Jarvans from a Successor. But yeah, that was a really, really great semifinals, and I'm super excited to see Successor versus Galy. This is a world-class matchup.
That's what I'm saying. Like
fantastic Legends of Runeterra headed our way for these final matchup here for the day.
Let me tell you, like I may have reached Masters, but I know I have a long way to go in terms of like really gaining my skill. And being able to watch these top players that have like won tournaments, they've won playoffs, all that, and like really like seeing what they do and like how they play. Like I feel like you'll see certain passes and you're like question mark, and then like you really look at it, and you're like, oh wow, that was like a 5-head pass to do that. And it's just it's so nice to be able to learn, via watching.
Yeah, I completely agree. You always learn so much from being able to cast these tournaments, and I think it's part of the reason why I love doing it so much.
Let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and spectate Galy. Now let's take a look at these decks. I'm curious, what are we banning? We are gonna have North Center. So we basically have. I hope we get to see Gwen Ribbon again. I kind of want to see it again.
I think Successor might ban it.
I could see Successor banning it. I
I
definitely
think
can.
you can race all of his decks, so I could see it making a lot of sense for him to ban. And like the other two decks, I'm sure he's had some play into before, so he might know what he's up against. Whereas this one, he might be a little bit more scared of.
Yeah, and even
I think it's gotta go.
and like I can see the Nora Viego. I mean, even Jace or Nora. Like, if we let Shen J4 through, the barrier can really kind of like hold its own against those kind of control because it's not. Yes, they're kill cards, but what do we have? I want to say Vengeance, and we have just Soul Harvest are probably what the only two like absolutely killing this unit while everything else is about dealing
Maybe
damage.
Piercing Darkness. Let me check.
Yeah, I want to say Piercing Darkness if we're able to bring it up.
Yeah, there's 2 Piercing Darkness main deck as well. So
Yeah, those are the only
we have
ones.
Vengeance, Piercing Darkness, and Soul Harvest, which is quite a few options to deal with it. But still, like you said, barriers are pretty effective for dealing with the Jace and whatnot. And you could definitely have hands as the Heimer Jace player where you do get go oops all units. It's rare, but it happens.
Yeah. Let's see. Gonna go ahead and wait on the players. 34th is gonna be LOR 420 versus Rekesay. I wanna watch all the matches.
Yeah, that'll be a good one too.
Oh
All the
man.
players have been playing some fantastic Legends of Runeterra today.
They really have. It's so nice to see. I don't think Deep made it to the finals though.
Nope.
Slightly sad.
And I'm very okay with that.
You're okay with
I'm a
it?
deep hater.
Really? You're a Deep hater?
I'm a deep hater. I like
Fighting
Maokai.
Wizards.
I love Maokai too. Maokai is one of my favorite champions in League. Like I've been a Maokai main since before they reworked him. Like back when his ult had that circle thing around him. Like I love that fucking tree bastard.
I mean, so I'm assuming that you've probably built every mill deck that you could possibly think of.
Yeah.
Are there
I've played a
any
lot of them.
good mill decks right now?
No, unfortunately not. Before they rotated everything, P and Z mill was like not terrible, and like Vandal mill was like not terrible, but they're still pretty terrible, you know? Like
Yeah.
they're bad, but they're not that bad, but they're bad. Like you shouldn't play them.
Bad, not that bad. Oh man, oh man. Now, you already said that we're probably most likely going to ban the Gwen Ribbon. Now, if you're on Galy's side, what do you think you ban? I want to say, like that. See, here's the thing: the team of Tristana with Champions Shake is kind of nasty. Like, if they're able to get that off, like I feel like that probably is the ban. While you let Alawi, Swain, and J4, mind you, they're still scary, especially J4, Shen. Given that we have access to deny, not only just one deny but two. And that could
The
really
deny deck is definitely a good look for a ban, I think. But then on the flip side, like you said, champion strength is really, really hard to deal with. If they can ever get to the point of setting that up, and especially Owlcats having spell shield, making that a lot easier to set up. It's probably a good look for a ban there too. It's kind of a toss-up. J4 Shen, I would say, is a little bit of a more low power level deck, but it definitely hasn't looked that way in Successor's hands tonight.
I mean, shoot, it's definitely looked like something that they're very comfortable playing. They know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, Successor, another phenomenal player that's been around for ages, so definitely knows how that deck works and how it wants to operate. Very, very curious to see how he's going to be able to pilot it in this finals, and if he's going to get to pilot in this finals, or if it'll be banned out from the get-go.
Oh man, it's tough. Like I feel like especially when you're going bands, like you can do the band helper. You know, I know many players like they go with that. Okay, let me see like what the little matchup table is. You know, what does it look like? But sometimes you're like looking at it and it's like, ooh, this is like it's not really clear cut. It's like, oh, this is kind of like even across the board. They're pretty close. I don't really know what I want to do.
The other thing with the band helper is that it's not really intelligent. There are some times where your lineup just has to get through one of your opponent's decks twice, and like that's your optimal strategy. The band helper won't recognize that. Like I've had games where it's like, okay, I need to get through this deck twice, but that's the deck it's telling me to ban, and it's like, I can't ban that deck.
I can't ban that.
It's the only chance I have. They're banning the one deck of mine that's good through the rest of them, so I cannot afford to get rid of that one because it's the only one that leaves me with 50-50s.
Yeah. Check this out. Now, Successor is running Joral, aka the Darken Ages. And I want to say that that is a one of, and actually a really good keep in the mulligan. Because if you're able to get Joral down, well, I mean, first off, ToF is already a good keyword. right? Especially against darkness. Now they have to get their darkness a little bit extra just to kill whatever unit it is. And then if you're able to get draw, then that's going to increase all the cost of spells by 2. And that is indeed a 1-up in the deck.
Blocking Badger Bear is sick here. Gonna mean that Nora can't
completely
attack.
shut down Nora.
And then the other thing about draw that I think you were gonna start to touch on there is that it comes down on curve immediately after this this Vagar does. So you can just pull the Vagar away, and here we're gonna go ahead and trade the single combat because we saw what that control just pull up these. Song in the Isles. Spirit.
Yeah, Song of the Isles. Song of the Isles.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark of the Isles, excuse me.
Mark of the Isles.
Mark of the
Song
Isles.
is the other shitty one that doesn't see play. Yeah, Mark of the Isles came out, so we're gonna get a trade off on the Nora with our mana in exchange for that.
Yeah.
Does mean that
We
this
get-
Vagar can come down now, though.
Yeah. So we're gonna get 2. +2 on darkness. We're gonna get to get on this turn and then the following turn. But most likely gonna lose Vagar. I mean, mind you, we could potentially just save the Vengeance. Offering the pass, we don't really need to do anything.
I
Okay,
like
Badger Bear.
developing the Badger Bear.
Mhm.
Not really anything better to do. Now,
Oh,
Parpalooza gonna come out.
Huh?
You can play
Question mark?
What?
On the side. Wait, look
Gaming?
at that! 0-4-2-3. We get to buff something.
That's gaming.
That is exactly what you call gaming, Maze. Oh my gosh.
I think
Portal
we're
Pass
gonna have to
on
go
top.
ahead and drop our 2-drop here in response to that. But Successor
Portal
disagrees.
Pass.
He just wants full mana. I think that's fine too. Now we can go ahead and open with the Jarvan. Is that what we want to do? Looks like it is.
Now, hold up. I need to read this card because J for his father. Okay, when already in play, instead give allies Challenger and Scout this round. So we can't play that on the defense turn. We're going to want to play it on our attack turn, but we can play the Sacred Protector on our defense turn. There goes your ball. Ooh, barrier.
For the draw, and this exchange is going to work out in the favor of Galy, but it is going to cost him a lot of mana and a few extra cards.
Ooh. It's worth it. I feel like it is worth it though. Like you need your champion to stay on board. You need that darkness to keep going up. Your opponent not only has barriers but like high HP units.
Oh yeah, and with these 2 Ixtali Sentinels in the hand as well, like you're very much threatened to end this game very, very soon. Funny thing about having the 0-4 on the board, it's not going to get pulled by the Jarvan. So if we do end up somehow making it through another turn cycle, we can get some funny things going with the Jarvan open. But here I expect that we will see the Sacred Protector come down.
Darkness is
It's
at
gonna go
5.
barrier.
Darkness at 5. Vagar at 3. So this darkness is gonna level up Vagar. This has suddenly gotten very spooky.
Yeah, and there's Sacred Protector. Now Shen's going to be drawn off of that. This might give us some hope to survive, but we do also see that there is a Vengeance in hand from the side of Galy, so we know that Successor's slim that it is going to be non-existent once he sees the Vengeance played out and his Sacred Protector removed.
Oh man, oh man. Wow.
I am in control.
Went for the pull, get rid of that. Now next turn, I'm assuming that we open swing with Jarvan, no?
Probably. I think we need to be taking this Vagar off the board, so you're almost certainly right. And because of that, the Vengeance is going to be aimed there instead, but we could also just go for the wall up. Like, we don't even need to burn our Vengeance.
We can even let Vagar die and just go for the miscall. Go Darkness miscall.
That's true too.
Actually,
That's honestly
yeah.
probably the best line. Let Vagar die, use the darkness on the Jarvan, and then miscall. This works too. You just take the Jarvan off the field, don't even have to concern yourself with it, and just continue to let your Vagar stack up and play safe that way.
Like,
I think
'cause
you
we're
don't even want to
basically-
play other units because you want this miscall always reviving your Vagar.
Yeah, because at this point, like, you've taken control, right? You're at 12 HP. You have the removal that you need. If you truly need to play something, it's either Ixtali, Wallop, or even your Catalyzer. we're good right now. Our opponent's units, at least the top end units, are really mana heavy. So even if they play a unit, it's like, okay, they spend all their mana, I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah, and not going to fire off the deny there. Successor instead going to use his mana to play out the remainder of his units. Goes for the 1-drop into the Shen buffing. And now Galy gonna match so that way he doesn't have to take any damage on this open swing. Successor
I'm
is
surprised we
forcing
didn't
Galy again.
Galy, but I can see why.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Double X Jolly? Oh gosh.
That's third Galy. Holy Galy gaming. Deny gonna have to come out here, and now we will be able to respond to heal up just a little bit with this barrier off the spirit. I'm losing my mind. I forget the
This
card name.
is. Wait, we can we drag Veigar? No, we can't because he's a 2/5. Damn.
We might be able to
threaten
get
lethal.
him with the level up if it's happening, but I don't know if it's happening.
Mm-mm. No, yeah, I think at least for Shen we're at 2 out of 5.
Ooh, that's not good. We needed
Yeah, we
the
haven't-
2-drop to stick around.
Mm-hmm. 9 out of 12. I mean, she gets how much? She gets +2, so still not enough. Even if we were to bury her and get some lifesteal going. I mean, lifesteal does save us though, at least for one round.
My father's blade.
Okay.
We are getting to heal quite a bit here. Just one off the
Ooh.
lethal. Very, very close. Wallop
Ah, the
just denied
wallop.
all of that though.
It makes sense though. You definitely want to go for it. Get that lifesteal in.
It's absolutely your best bet of winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was a heads-up play from Successor's side, but Galy just had the answer. And now with the following Ixtali Sentinels and just the darkness in hand and the Veigar on the board, he is going to be able to close out game 1 of this final.
Wow. So well played. Like you saw each player see exactly like what they needed to do in those moments, and then at some point, like it comes down to okay, if my opponent like has some kind of counter, they have it. You know, I am playing to my outs. I know what I need to do to try to like push lethal or to push the game more in my favor. And losing to cards that are like even not necessarily high rolling or even just like certain draws, I feel like kind of showcases your skill as a player, because it's like if you're losing to draws, then it's like, hey, I made it this far and it really was just the cards. I did everything that I could possibly do.
Yeah, definitely gotta agree with you. Very, very well played by Galy in game 1. We'll see if we can keep it up for game 2. And then take down this tournament with a quick 2-0, or if Successor's going to be able to clap back with the champion strength Tristana. Turns out it wasn't banned.
Through. So interesting. So we decided to ban the Alawi Swain.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's been tearing it up with that deck as well, making that look like the stellar deck that it apparently
It's
is.
strong.
The stats on it get better day after day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this though. We have double Soul Harvest. So this Teemo's gonna go. This Bando Commando's gonna go. Oh, I mean,
Double
I guess
Teemo.
Teemo gets to stay a little bit.
Double Teemo, not exactly what you want to see. Now Soul Harvest probably going to be aimed at the Bando Commando instead, and Galy actually just opting to not fire it off at all. That seems wrong. I'm not going to lie. I know we want to be playing for this Jace really, really badly, but I think we need to be delaying a single turn and not letting these Owlcats come down. One of our major lose conditions is letting them put these Owlcats down, right? Like,
Yeah.
the more of these they have, the harder it's going to be for us to deal with anything that they do in the late game, because their Bandle Commandos or Bandle Gunners are going to be that much cheaper. And we're going to have to spend more and more resources to deal with free units. So, I don't know. Not a fan.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I've seen Bando Commando just completely take over a game with its units. Mind you, we are swinging incredibly wide. And if anything that we've realized with, at least with these kinds of, with the Shadow Isles decks, we don't have access to Withering Wail anymore, so wide open swings are a little bit tough to deal with. Ooh, top deck Tristana.
I love Tristana. There we go. Perfect. Unfortunately, she is just going to get killed here. I'm pretty sure I saw a bench in the hand of Galy.
Yeah.
Yep, there is
Yeah,
one there.
Bring this home.
That's so much, though. Soul Harvest?
You should Soul Harvest the Bandle Commando and Vengeance the Trist at the same time, right?
Yeah, I would
Or-
say so.
I guess you could Shock Blast something instead. but-
Great. We're running into heated. What you got?
Yeah, we're really just gonna let these Bandle Commandos continue to produce Owlcats. It's so interesting.
Oh my gosh, negative 15. Yeah, I feel like letting the Bando Commando hit is now really going to start biting Galy. That's already a second spell shield unit. Now at this point, we're contributing to I believe they're called the Vandal Gunners, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Let's go, people.
Yeah, they're almost within playable range now as well. Getting to be able to jam multiple Vandal Gunners on a single turn is going to be really, really powerful for Successor in this late game scenario, especially when he ends up with a board full of spell shield units.
Oh my gosh. And we're getting shrooms. That's 2 damage off the shrooms already.
Mm-hmm. There's 8 more of them left in the deck. And Galy has a lot of draw too, so there's pretty decent odds that he picks up 1 or 2 more. All he needs is a little bit more impact damage, and Successor's likely going to be able to get there.
I wouldn't even be surprised if we overwrite the 2/3. Or even Teemo.
I think Galy might feel forced to use one of these Soul Harvests now.
Production Surge? What was this? I didn't see what was grabbed. Soul Harvest, okay.
Yeah.
See, we could have used that so much earlier, but like I understand, like when you're playing this kind of like that has the requirement that you need to play 6-cost spells, you don't want to like put yourself a turn behind. But if putting yourself a turn behind like guarantees that you're like not necessarily running into lethal so soon, or like in a sticky situation, then it might just be worth it.
Yeah, it didn't even really put us a turn behind in this spot either, right? Because yeah, we had Jace on 4, but we didn't really need to play Jace on 4, or we could have just played like the flip Jace on 6 by going for the formula on turn 5 into something else on turn 6. And we like it's not like we had to activate a Hextech handler that was in hand. Jace wasn't even flipped. Like he was flipped for his turn 5, but it didn't make a difference in this game state at all, right? Whether this was a 4/4 Jace or a 5/5 Jace, it's the same thing.
Yeah. And like look at this now. 4 spell shield units.
Yep.
Disgusting. Already guaranteed 6. We don't even have anything. We have nothing. We can't even pop this. We have to block with everything.
Yeah, we do just have to full block, unfortunately, and you're still taking 6 off of this, so... And one of the Vandal Gunners gets to stay alive, which means that even more damage is going to come through on the next attack swing, or you're going to have to commit multiple units, multiple spells into the single unit.
You might just have to
And
commit a
Successor
shot.
just has refill.
We can't. Damn, we can't even commit shotbox because shotbox is Jace.
Uh-huh.
Oh man. Pot of Pain?
What's this? A new fly?
Yeah. I think more HP has to be the way.
Not just
And
more
more
HP, but
impact.
one more impact.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that just means that any other singular unit with impact
Ooh,
wins.
we went with quick attack Jace.
I think you have to at this point. You gotta look to how and hope to high roll with lifesteal a little bit, I think. Oh,
we
champion
top deck-
strength off the top.
Replicating the power spike.
Oh
That's so
man, we get the rally in. Like I would have argued to give Jace Challenger because you're gonna give it quick attack anyway, and then at least you can take the Banner Commando out. Quick attack over him.
Yeah,
Rash.
that's a reasonable out as well. You just have to jam the champion strength in response here. There's no other
Absolutely.
choice. That way you have a blocker for the Jace because he hit Brash, and then you have a blocker for everything else. And
Game
you're
3.
chilling.
This is about to be a game 3.
Yep, it is in fact about to be a game 3.
Oh man.
Successor looks to have closed this out. I don't think there's any way Galy can.
You can Mystic Shot
Yeah,
one
no.
unit, but even then, I don't know if it's even worth
No,
it.
none of it matters, right? Because we have 4 impact damage off this Vandal Gunner, so it's just game for Successor. He just has the HP and the board to be able to do it. He was able to push enough through the early game and then stabilize with the double Vandal Gunners on his own turn 6 that he just pushed so much damage. And now this champion strength came and showed itself right at the perfect moment for him to close out the game.
Wow. I'm wondering if it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like what makes that now that I've like actually seen it, because I have to be real with you, I haven't like really seen it like full blown potential. Now that I'm looking at it, I see it. Like I see why it's so powerful. Because not only are you able to do champion strength, but you're doing champion strength on spell shield units. Like, what do you do? That's a whole 2 spells you need to get rid of the unit. A, pop the spell shield. B, pop the freaking unit. Oh my gosh, that's a
When you
nasty
give Vandal
deck.
Gunner Scouts, when you give Vandal Gunner Scout, like That's a lot
Shoot.
of damage. Imagine if he was doing that champion strength on an offensive turn. He's
Mhm.
getting 2 swings in with double Vandal Gunners. That's crazy.
Oh man,
That's majority of your HP. Like that's 18
like
damage.
it
right?
is. It's nuts.
12 damage. Sorry, I can't count. Plus the 5.
Listen,
Plus the 5.
it's basically death. That's how we can sum it up. You are dying. Now we get to see Successor running the J4 Shen, a deck that they have having some really nice success on.
Ooh.
What a
Straight to fight.
finals match. Galy running back the Heimer. Now we do have the Nye in hand.
Yeah, traditionally this matchup way back in the day, because this is a matchup that's existed for ages too, right? Like
Yeah.
SI Heimer's been around. There's been Heimer decks. Like it always came down to, can I force it into a position where I can either get a Shen spell off into an empty slot, winning the game that way, or I can force them to deny or ruination force them to ruination into a deny. You kind of have to build your board in a way that you're so threatening that happens. Now, so many new cards have been added to the game since that point, since this matchup was like even somewhat relevant, right?
Yeah.
That I'm sure it's changed a lot, and the nuances of getting to that point in the game have changed, but I think the end game goal is still going to try and be the same thing. Either force a vengeance or something big onto something like the Sacred Protector or the King Jarvan turn and have a deny backup for that, which Successor has set himself up nicely for, or it's just going to be force a ruination into a 6-wide board and like have deny for that, and that's kind of his only ways of winning. He doesn't really have a whole lot of other shots.
I wonder if you already go ahead and go for the Soul Harvest onto the 1/3. Ooh,
think
Production
you
Switch
should.
instead.
Do it, but Production Search is also a pretty good look here.
Okay, 7/1 with barrier. Completely basically shut down the attack. Only get 1 unit.
Yeah, that 7/1 is annoying, but it's also not the best unit to have if you're Galy. You'd much rather have an elusive or like multiple units to go even wider.
Ooh, took a pass.
Now
Okay.
Jarvan gets to come in. This has to be an open attack with the Jarvan, except we top deck the Shen instead, so we're gonna look to do that. This is even better, actually. This is the only thing
Soul
that can be
Harvest.
better than the Jarvan. This
Gets up by
you
form
answer
up.
with a form up, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wonder if we can see the Vengeance come out. Okay, let it fizzle.
Wait for
Sorry,
the attack
our
to happen. and then
opponent-
go.
Like, Successor is still holding up the 9 mana. That's a whole 4 mana. Like, when you're not playing against Ionia or Shima, it's like, okay, I don't gotta worry about it. The moment you see 4 mana and your opponent is like consistently holding up, it's like, damn, I know they got it.
Blesses her
Yep.
followers.
And regardless of whether they're holding the mana or not, you can't afford to respect it in this position. And Successor actually chooses to let it go, and I like that a lot. Doesn't really need that Screeching Dragon at this point to win. Does need his champions. Says, well, you know, if there's a Ruination coming, if there's another Vengeance coming, I want the deny for those ones. And Sanin's a huge pickup here as well. Now Sacred Protector gonna go ahead and drop a barrier onto the Shen, protecting him, picking up a second Shen, giving a stand united. This is looking to be the way Successor wants to win. He remembers the strategy. He knows what he's doing.
So Harvest coming
Now,
down, we are gonna lose Shen, but we have one in hand.
We can moral support, right?
There's more
That
support,
flip
more
Shen gives him
support.
barrier.
3 out of
Pops him
5.
out. Oh, 3 out of 5.
A little bit short, just a little bit. It would have though. Oh, is this gonna be denied?
Deny.
I mean, like, we have second Shen, so I'm thinking we let this die, we play Shen again. We are gonna take a bit of damage, but we can block the 9/3. Like, I can see, because I see that what essentially you want to do, you want to keep Shen. That way, when you actually give Shen, what is the unit? You can give all the units barrier and everybody has double attack.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be worth
Kind
it.
of like the deny in this spot.
Then the only thing, because if you're gonna go for an open swing, all you have to worry about is Vengeance, and we already know J4 is coming down.
J4 coming down actually might bite us, which is the funny thing. Because we might have benefit and united. Otherwise, we could beat the Vengeance.
Immediately.
Also, this is really scary.
Life for these lands.
These triple hextech handler. Isn't it great that these don't have quick attack anymore?
I know.
Oh man, imagine if they did.
We should probably be killing the 10-4? Question mark.
Because in this deck we don't have overwhelm, so I can see the argument just killing this 10-4. You don't really need to keep the double attack on your units, even though I guess it can offer more damage. Not sure.
We're also just clearing more effectively if we kill the 10-4 because we're pulling a 6-5 that's not been touched with the next turn. So I don't see the argument for this one.
I wonder if we decide to go with Geralt instead.
Maybe.
Geralt would tap us out of that though. Oh, okay. Going for the open swing.
Sure, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the 10-1 here. And then what are we doing? So Shen flipped, which is great. If Shen gets left unblocked, the moral support is ironically lethal. Except for the fact that there's a vengeance, but you know. Probably need to vengeance this Sacred Protector, I think.
This is tough. Yep, there it goes.
Yeah.
Sacred Protective Vengeance.
So now we can go ahead and moral support our own Shen, just to keep it alive. This trades out the board. Now Successor is actually in a pretty good spot here, right?
What was this? Hold up.
Mystic Shot gonna trade the Shen. Or trade the Jarvan, actually. Trading the Jarvan probably slightly better than trading the Shen, especially given that we can see there is a King Jarvan in hand available for Successor. So Galy, pretty heads up with that, if that is part of the reason why he chose to play around.
Like, 'cause you definitely don't want to have to deal with Scout. If anything, that's like always been a thorn in the side of control players. It's Scout. Having to deal with just dealing with attacks back to back is no bueno. Okay, gonna play Sign and refill our hand. We have Notify Jabal. Ooh, the drain coming down. That's lethal right there. The elusive. Oh, but we went to Badger Bear! We have Badger Bear to save us!
We did find a Badger Bear just in time, didn't we?
And it kills the unit.
Yep, it does in fact kill the unit. It's pretty fucking nice.
Oh my gosh.
And you just have to force the trade here as Galy. Nothing else you can do about it.
Oh, this ruination though. Like, if we even develop, I feel like it's an immediate ruination.
Yeah, but what else can we do? Oh wait, this ruination is really good for us if we develop though. We can go Screeching Dragon here, threaten 6-5. If ruination comes out, we can just redevelop our Shen into a 2-drop.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
There it goes. Ruination being ripped. It's a T-Hex. It's gonna be the open screen. Galy is going to take the game.
Wow. Successor just got a little bit too greedy at the end of the game there. He could have played it safe, taken out the Heimerdinger there with the pull, traded out his units, traded out his board, and then maybe tried to reset with the second Shen, re-control the board and win from that point, but said, nope, you don't have Ruination, played it, and lost because of the call he made. Very well done by both players to make it all the way to the finals. Very exciting set of games in this finals. Fantastic Legends of Runeterra all night. IDC, it's been an absolute pleasure casting with you. I've had such a great experience with this tournament. So
I am so happy
wonderful
that you were able to join us. Like I said, I've seen your content. I've seen you've been around. You are definitely a pinnacle in the community, and I know a lot of people look up to you. And like, listen, you were it. Don't ever forget that. All right. Very happy to have you online with us. But wow,
that was something.
I'm still like processing because like, we really saw the power. Like, mind you, J4 Shen like brought Successor all the way through, and even then like it gets so tight because there are moments it's like I kind of need to kill my opponent, like, but even like knowing like it's like okay, matter of fact, I need to check something real quick. Was Ruination manifested, or was that a
good
main deck? I need to see.
That's a very good question.
Manifested.
Ooh.
So like because think about it, like if the Feral's Financier, I believe, can get any 6+ card. And anything like in those two regions. we just happen to hit the ruination, and like you can't really play about something that's manifest because like it could be anything. I mean, as the game progresses, you can maybe like kind of read it, but even then, it's so difficult. Like if they haven't played it when your board was scary, it's like okay, maybe they don't have it.
You kind of have to be hand tracking and like recognizing that it's been sitting there dead for as long as it has. And like when a 6+ cost card in this region combo has sat there for as long as that card has, there's not that many choices it could be. Okay, it could be a Piercing Darkness, but that would have been played. And then they played the one off the top the turn they drew it, so like probably not a Piercing Darkness. Okay, maybe it could be a Shock Blast that they're saving for burn damage, but like they've had opportunities to play that. It's probably not a Shock Blast. Maybe a Vengeance, but they played 2 from hand first, so maybe not that one. Probably Ruination. And then when you play the first card and they don't drop it immediately, you go, okay,
That's
how am I winning this game? How much can I push this pace? Am I winning this game if I don't do this? Well, maybe. Am I winning this game if I do this? Definitely. Do I want to go to bed? Yeah, kinda. So you jam it, you see what happens. They have it. You're like, all right, guess I'm going to bed.
Guess we'll go to bed right now. Because, mind you, that game could have went either way. We saw both players like, we not necessarily maybe we can call them misplays or it's like just different decisions, but we saw other lines of like other avenues that could have potentially progressed the game much different. Like for example, not getting not giving Jace Challenger at some point in one of the earlier games where we're like, okay, we had the chance of taking out the what the heck is that unit called? The commando that has the impact. The Vandal.
Yeah, the Vandal commando that makes the owl cats constantly.
Yeah, that one. Like
we saw them left up. That was a big decision point that we kind of were looking at with curiosity, if nothing else.
Yeah, and then even the I can't think of the 10 drops name.
The Vandal Gunners.
There you go, Vandal Gunners, like that one. But like we had an opportunity to give our Jace quick challenger and quick attack. Like even then, like with the champion streak, that's still like hard to go through. I'm not sure if it's potential because that's like 9 damage. Champion streak gives 2/2, 4/4. I think no, I think even so, I think even with challenger outside of it, but
yeah, it's a lot.
Even so, like both games were just so utterly close, especially that very last one. Because truthfully, like it could have went either way. And we saw how each player kind of like was kind of like going back and forth between okay, you can see they're in the lead, and then like the other one's in the lead. It's like, oh my gosh, that was so good.
That was a very wonderful night of Runeterra. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Galy won't be joining us for an interview tonight. Isn't able to at the moment, he says, but GG's to him. Very, very well played. Congratulations for taking it down.
Absolutely. We'll see if maybe Successor might want to join in. If they do, that would be
cool.
nice. If not, it's okay. Don't have to. We can encourage you to do a little interview, talk about the games, and wow, this really was some good Legends of Runeterra. Let me tell you.
It was. A lot of big names in this tournament as well. Yokadu, Grave Trail, shadawx, Galy, Sesking. Like I recognize so many of these names. Seku, Successor, of course.
And mind you, let me tell you something. We've had a few we've had a few tournaments already, and we've actually kind of like had a pattern of who's been winning. Like Sam Sands has been getting third every game. Justiano has won the past 2. So this tournament we completely have seen it flip, where it's a completely different line of players that have made it all the way through it. It's really interesting to see because I was like, is Lasers about to have their own like little meta of like who's like kind of like winning and stuff? But it's pretty good. It's cool. It's definitely so good.
It's definitely nice to see a mix up in your top 8 or in your top cut after that. After having consistency in the previous rounds. Not that it's a bad thing to have consistent people winning the same thing over and over and over again, but it's always refreshing to see new faces and to see that new people are showing up and like coming out and bringing their A game and taking it down. So good to see some variety.
Yeah, definitely. Now I am curious. Our 3rd and 4th place match is actually still running. I'm not sure if would you be interested in watching it?
Yeah, we can see if we can hop into it, see how much time is left. I'm down.
You want to take us in? I have I know Lao isn't I don't think Lao has the spectator on, but I believe Rekesay does. Now, I want to see. Slow. What decks do we have? Nard team was just on Pike Rekesay. Oh, okay. Also brought Lurk. Another Lurk player. Alawi J4.
Damn, we got a lurk matchup going this long. That's kind of incredible.
It is.
The power of time. The possibilities are endless.
Oh, it looks like they
14.
just started. There's
Okay,
46 minutes on this clock, so this is game
Okay.
one.
Listen, get a little extra game in. Normally, anytime we end the match with the finals, 34th match plays have already finished. Luckily, we do get to see them play right now.
And we see a triple champion hand from Rekesay. This is a little fucked
Now,
up.
hear me out.
Bring ill tidings, but they're not boring.
I don't think it's that bad, and the only reason is because we have double Rekesay. Like, we can now, like, when we draw into another card, we are going to be able to, like, guarantee a lurk.
Were we not supposed to put the pike back on top so we would have a pike?
I actually would have argued for that. I would have played. I mean, you can't necessarily play Rekesay at defense, which sucks, because she'll go back into the deck. But I would have been more inclined to give us the strike spell from Pike. Mind you, the strike spells that are in Lost deck are like require Pike to hit back. That's not necessarily a unit that you want to, rock the level up on. But because we aren't blocking with that, we're already on 6 HP against 20.
This Ilawi's gonna kill us pretty soon. We didn't develop into this attack as the lurk player, so like we're not really threatening anything. I guess we were a little bit scared of Cataclysm, but 6 HP is greater than 0 and we don't have burn damage.
Mm-hmm. No, there's J4. Look, not only Jarvan, but we have enough mana for Cataclysm.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have it here, mind you, Alawi is gonna die unless we have form up.
Gonna have tactical, a single combat to deal with a blocking unit as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nope, looks like Alawi's going down. But Lout is gonna be able to start taking control of this game with this Jarvan. Not quite flipped yet, so that's actually pretty important. It's gonna be very impactful.
Very impactful.
Tentacle Smash deals with this as well. Wow, that's huge. That's actually so big.
That is massive. I mean, we are gonna get the Rekesay on field, but I feel like we're gonna need a Pike top deck. It's called a Pack top deck. Okay.
We should have called the pack first. Put Rekesay on top. I guess it doesn't matter.
I see the argument. In case this happens, you want to have a second Rekesay.
Yeah.
But now the second call to pack, you can't use it anymore. Unless you're opting to call pack Rekesay, swing with Pike, and then now J4 is forced to block.
Yeah, but you have to play this Rekesay, I think, right?
Absolutely.
She's flipping, so I don't. Yeah. This was definitely the right line. I'm showing that I'm not a lurk player. But now it looks like we might have a Cataclysm coming out, but that's not good. That's not winning. That's losing. Yeah, Lout realizing that maybe they can't be doing that.
Okay, Cataclysm. It's J4's Cataclysm at that.
Ooh. Okay, but this is just lethal.
Yeah, it's just lethal.
This is just, yeah. I mean, I guess it was lethal either way, so.
Yeah, I think only out there would have been single combat. You block the Pike, single combat the Rekesay, and then you'll live another turn.
Yes. Yeah.
So that would be something very specific. But I mean, hey.
No, that actually, because Rekesay's flipping, so she goes to 7 HP. So that's not even an out.
Oh,
it's not even an out.
Damn.
Yep.
So I was
definitely just straight up lethal.
match.
Lurk doing what Lurk does best, beating Demacia.
That's a fact. I mean, I want to say that the thing that was keeping Lurk back was what, Ashe? I want to say the Frostbites were really powerful.
Ashe and like just like a lot of the PNZ removal stuff was pretty good into Lurk. Now we get
Demacia into Karma though, and we already seen how this matchup kind of goes, right?
Yeah, we'll see if Rekesay can maybe pilot it to a point where it doesn't go the way it normally does. Having a Hexpliterator for this Eye of God is a good start, and also just being able to reset this immediately with this Mystic Shot is a pretty good start. Eye of God definitely feels bad at a moment like this.
Oh man, oh
Isn't
man.
about who's better.
Now I like the fact that we have Hex Obliterator, not necessarily two of them. Two is a bit much. But I feel like the issue when it comes to playing against Alawi is Alawi
Let's hear it.
is already, I believe, what, at 6 HP naturally? She's a 2/6? So a single form up completely decimates a Hex Obliterator because you need to be able to kill the unit to obliterate it.
Yes, but obliterating it doesn't matter too much in this game, unless we're trying to deal with the weapon. It's good for dealing with the weapon, but in this specific matchup, it doesn't matter too much outside of that. So whether we kill Howie or obliterate it is like, it's good either way because she's just getting off the field, and that's the most important thing. Now we do have the option of going for a formula into something or just opening with the Hex Obliterator, and it looks like that's what we're deciding to do here. Kind of like just holding off a little bit. If we pass into the next turn, we could do something like some more cheeky stuff, and we don't really need to be doing this and giving them an opportunity to play another Alawi if they have one.
Absolutely. Alright, got the birds, got the 3/3. Double bird. Didn't Broadwing come with Challenger already?
Initially.
Initially.
Card was too broken.
A beautiful day for
Like a
sailing.
Challenger on a 3 damage Challenger on turn freaking 2? Ridiculous.
What are we holding mana for? I guess we could Caustic Rift this turn.
I can see the Caustic Rift. Oh,
That's
look at
it.
Hex Obliterator.
Yeah, we do have another Hex Obliterator, but do we really want to be jamming it here?
I guess if we see the... Ooh, goes for the draw instead. Okay, draw into Caustic Rift. We are gonna... I believe the Eye of God, the weapon for the spawn, is probably gonna come down here. I wouldn't be surprised. Mana's out of mana. It's gonna give us 3 spawn when we add the Sea's Voice.
Yeah, that Eye of God is going to be huge here.
Sharkling unit away.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
some amount of
tapping
damage.
out of this turn. Tapping out of this turn might cost us the game, to be honest. If we had held mana for this Hex Obliterator and just continued to pass, or like just not used up all our mana, maybe Lot can't play as frivolously as they did. Or as freely as they did, sorry.
Drink or news? I've got both.
Another Sea's Voice, oh gosh.
Yeah, Smooth McSologist is going to come down and like kind of present a trade, but not really because this tentacle is big and threatening. But it is going to heal us, and it is going to go out there and offer the trade into the tentacle to set up for this Caustic Rift number 2, but Lot recognizing that they need this tentacle alive isn't going to take it. No need to risk anything. Here, though, we can just drop a recall. We can also Hex Obliterate. Actually, we can't Hex Obliterate. For,
The tentacle? That is out of the question. That tentacle has
Little bit too
gotten
big.
way too big. We get the stun, like you said, though. We get to trade off 2 units. But not too bad, but that tentacle is looking scary, and I guess the only real way would be to recall it. Mind you, if
I
we do
don't
play
think we should have
sets...
recalled it right there, because
Yeah.
then if we get to save the stun for a future turn. It's like kind of potato, tomato, tomato, but
yeah. Ooh, going for it right now.
No, this I hate. This is not right. You can't do this on the same turn. Like, you need to layer these and save them for future turns, because like now you get Omega punished. Ooh. Yeah.
2 units gone.
Okay, on the bright side, now you know there is no single combat for your karma or
Yeah.
for your set. So you can pretty freely play this set at this point, I think, and just reset the weapon one more time and then Hex Obliterate whatever they put the weapon on afterwards.
Yeah, because I mean, the tentacle can't get big unless we're swinging, right? Unless we're playing a spell. So we're gonna get the set level up, we get the swing, and we get to keep the tentacle down.
And we also get to... Nope, we're one shy.
That's a leveled set.
It is a level set, but we're also one shy of the showstopper, but we could get it with the coins if we wanted to.
I saw you looking at me. Welcome to the arena.
Yeah, I like this pull better. I like pulling the tentacle better.
Goes for the overwhelm. I guess I can see the overwhelm. The tentacle isn't that big. It's gonna have to swing. You can just Hex Obliterate it next turn if you really want to.
Blockling. Full formula, probably. Did not pull formula.
So we think
I'm
it's
pretty
off.
sure it had to be a formula pick with the Karma in hand already, but
I guess opting to go for healing. Oh, end up
healing
drawing.
doesn't matter when we can just draw through our whole deck and get the
Yeah.
healing anyway.
No, absolutely.
This'll be a good
Set's
warm-up.
gonna die. Yeah, actually, it doesn't have to die. We can go for a trade, go for Caustic Rift, so it still dies. Everything goes. But I mean, I feel like at this point we have Karma.
I feel like we should just keep Set alive though, because like, what else are we doing?
Yeah.
And then we can play our coins here. I think we have enough coins to play coins into Karma, and like,
Ah, single combat.
okay, well, this is still fine because now we have Karma.
Yeah, it's Karma now. We're online. Opponent has 3 cards. We've already basically ran through all their interactions we possibly ran to. Sure, they're gonna get the spawn, but at that rate, they're gonna need a strike spell.
And we get to heal up with these mixologists. So we get the Karma mixologist, and then we can spend our coins and draw. Make more Karmas in our deck. Lots of stuff happening here.
Heart and mind as
Make a lot of
one.
3 cards in our hand.
Where there is life, there is hope.
Yep, there it goes. Tactical Smash. We can just Mr. Chop this. Boom.
Yep.
What a top deck. We actually really needed that Mr. Chop. I think it's not too much if we have second Karma, so it's not the biggest deal, but
Still feels a lot better to not have to use second Karma and to actually be able to use it to, just to stay alive and like get resources. Okay, we are looking to use the coin here, so we can go ahead and play second Karma or just heal up even more and then still have 9 mana available.
I wonder if they're gonna go ahead and play second Karma, because I mean it's gonna refill our hand, we get some cards. Some of them can be bricks, but you never know. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was visual bug. That didn't
Ooh,
make
draw.
sense. That's really
Blast.
good. Drum solo is fantastic. Bird is fantastic. And this is actually just even more free cards and
Wait.
just a ton of damage now.
Ours is the will of Ionia.
This is lethal. But there's nothing left to do. What?
Wow!
We knew
And that, viewers,
What
was
an
the third
incredible
and
end to our
fourth
night.
match. That was okay. We see. I mean,
That was
like
a wild third, fourth.
that really was. Like Karma is still strong, right? Mind you, you have to get all the way to that point, and we saw in this matchup how both players had the ability to kind of like play into their cards. And you had the Karma set player just boom, I got the answer, got the answer, got the answer. It's a tough, especially when you're dealing with a deck that has high HP units. But I mean, hey, we got there. We were able to stabilize. Mind you, it was getting close, and then at the end of the day, Karma ended up creating the shit like the exact cards he needed. Not even just cards that like you needed, but cards that create other cards.
Yep.
Just completely
game.
refilled that hand. That was crazy. Really
I
good
didn't even
though.
need to refill the hand. Just won the game on the spot with the cards that were created. So like,
That's
nothing
it. Didn't even
mattered.
need to.
Just fucking wild night of Legends of Runeterra. Amazing gameplay all night. Phenomenal casting. You've been an absolute pleasure to
Listen.
cast alongside. I've had a lot of fun with this one.
Thank you very kindly. Listen, can't say it better myself in regards to you. Very happy to have you. First time. Hopefully we can see you again in the future.
I'd be
Shoot.
happy.
You ever interested in playing? If you're free on Thursday, shoot, hop in real quick. Let's see some gameplay. We'll go ahead and cast you. But thank you everyone for viewing. I don't believe we're gonna have any player interviews today, and that's all right. We'll get them next time. This is the Lancers Legends of Runeterra tournament. I do have some reminders real quick. Next week we will be having the tournament. Same times. Deck clock is at 6:30. Tournament starts at 7:30. Stream is between like 8 and 8:30. I also want to have a reminder for one of our fellow players, Raravin, who is running the Noximus tournament. It's this Sunday, May the 7th. It is a paid tournament. It's a $5 entry fee. Hop in, join up. You can enough player joins that prize pool is definitely going to go up, and you can have a little bit of Sunday Runeterra if you're free. Other than that, that's all I got. Do you have any final words, Monte?
And no, just shout out to you guys for having me on tonight. It's been a pleasure, and definitely shout out to Rav for putting on his series as well, because he's a homie too. So thank you all. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I enjoyed casting it, and hope to see you guys on the future tournament as well.
Most definitely. Shoot. Listen, if you're a viewer, don't be intimidated. Y'all better join these tournaments. I want to see y'all play. I want to cast y'all. Listen, it's always good practice. It's good knowledge gaining, and you get to have some fun with it. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone who has joined and played. I am so happy to have a lot of regulars and a lot of newcomers. And that'll be the end of our tournament today. Good night, y'all.